down to Georgia. He was looking for a soul to steal. He was in a bind because he was way behind and he was willing to make a deal. When he came across this young man sawing on a fiddle and playing it hot, and the devil jumped up on a hickory stump and said, "Boy, let me tell you what. I guess you didn't know it, but I'm a fiddle player too. And if you'd care to take a dare, I'll make a bet with you. Now you played pretty good fiddle, boy, but give the devil his due. I bet a fiddle of gold against your soul, because I think I'm better than you." The boy said, "My name's Johnny, and it might be a sin, but I'll take your bet and you're gonna regret, because I'm the best as ever been. Johnny, rosin up your bow and play your fiddle hard, cause hell's broke loose in Georgia and the devil deals the cards. And if you win, you get this shiny fiddle made of gold. But if you...
Degenerate into something fool. We just got tired of doing what you told us to do. That's a brace, boy. Yeah, that's a brace, little man. Break it down. Degeneration up. Degeneration. You think you can tell me what to do?
Yeah. Welcome to the motherfucking takeover. It's the Mighty Biz and Payday, and I think we got Cove on the line, but I ain't really worried about Cove on the line. He in Georgia or something like that. He doing family business, you know what I'm saying? And we here to have wrestling talk. Me and Payday just gonna talk about wrestling for 3.5 hours straight.
Top rope discussion the whole night.
Top rope destruction. It is really. That should have been the name of the podcast. Top rope destruction.
I'm gonna tell you what, you scallywag. If y'all talk too much wrestling, I'm coming to give y'all a fucking flying elbow off the top of the rope.
Here's the thing, bro. I'll hit mute in 2 seconds.
Listen, I'll get back on a Greyhound so fast to make your dick split.
It'll take you 9 hours to get here, and we'll still be talking about wrestling.
Yeah, because that gives us plenty of time to at least cover the 90s.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm gonna tell you this.
I want to start like
quietly.
late 70s NWA.
We can. I'm just saying, like, we got enough time here.
Yeah, we really do. We're getting the locks changed as we speak. Hector's downstairs.
Listen, if y'all gotta hire somebody to change the locks, the both of you are slacking. That's a weekend warrior.
Well,
job.
we have to be on at 8:30.
Right. We don't have to. We just want to be here doing the show while they're doing that work.
Plus, we're getting your cut from this week, so we just use that.
We're delegating, not able to do it.
I don't know who's giving you my cut.
No, we just took it. We figured we'd just take it and give it to Hector.
It was between the screen and the front door, so we just picked it up on the way in.
Yeah.
Somebody dropped the check at the door for me?
That's right, yeah.
All right.
All right. How was your trip down to Georgia, Cove?
I'm going to tell you this, bro. Savannah is not a beautiful... I mean, listen, like, architecturally, the foliage... historically, it's a beautiful town. The people out here, there's some ugly motherfuckers in Savannah, Georgia, bro.
It's getting ugly.
You judging the population? You've been there for 10 minutes.
Listen, I haven't seen one handsome dude yet.
That's because you're the handsomest dude. It's not fair to compare yourself to the others.
Yeah, no, I know. No, I take myself out of the equation.
Okay, all right. As long as you're being fair and even-handed about it.
Yeah, listen, it took us about... Let's see. We left, I'd say about 3:30, and got down here about 4:30. So what's that? 13 hours,
give or take. Yeah.
Just a light little 13-hour drive.
Little jaunt.
And yeah, I took an hour nap at about right around hour 10, and then got right back to it. Woke up and said, "All right, lady, give me the wheel," and continued on our way down here. And I'll tell you what, dude, it's all strikingly beautiful where we're at. We're like right in the historic district at Forsyth Park, which is like the famous Savannah, Georgia park with the Spanish moss hanging from the trees and the weeping willows and the fountains. And, listen, if Murphy gets reelected, I'm moving to Savannah, Georgia.
Can you leave the key?
Yeah, no. I'm bringing the whole show with me. The gig and the tool shed are both coming with me.
Yeah, green. All right.
Everybody's on payroll. We're gonna rent. Like they got these these houses are huge, bro, but I think most of them are broke down into apartments.
Right.
Like they're just
Like,
gargantuan houses
okay.
with this, it's all like French colonial architecture, and man, it's a sight to behold. I suggest it to anybody. I've only been here for one day, but thus far, I will suggest it as a place to go. I thought I loved New Orleans and the way New Orleans looks. Now, Savannah is way classier than New Orleans, without a doubt.
Even
But,
uglier people, though, right? The people are uglier in Savannah as opposed to New Orleans?
New Orleans, there was some attractive people because it's heavy tourists.
Right.
You know what I mean? There's people from everywhere mixing up, and then, like, you got the Creole and the Cajun population, and they're beautiful people. But Savannah just doesn't have that going on.
You're the
I
only
have yet to
tourist.
see. Yeah, I have yet to see it. But as far as like architecturally, it's blowing New Orleans out the water. It's New Orleans, but clean and on a cycle of tests.
Nice.
So
So-
since you're bringing up New Orleans, just do me a favor while you're down there in Savannah enjoying yourself. No strangers. No hanging out with strangers this time, all right?
Yeah. Don't be following anybody
No.
to no abandoned building
No
or
getting
anything.
unmarked trucks. None of that shit.
Yeah.
We need you to come back.
Listen. Yeah, no. This is a family affair. So like right now, I'm out walking the streets. I'm trying to find a hard coffee right now, which I think I'm on to. I think I'm sniffing one out. You could drink in the streets here,
That's
Nice.
nice.
right?
You get the open cups?
No, I'm gonna just drink it right out the bottle, Eddie.
Because you're classy.
Yes.
Blast this joint up. I definitely don't feel as though I'm down here with my jail tats ablazing, wife beater on. You know what I mean? Looking like straight New Jersey trash
That's
up in this joint.
yeah.
and
I mean, that
don't
wasn't going to
fit in.
change just because you're in a different state.
That's for par.
I thought maybe there would be some Georgia trash down here. I don't know. I don't know what I was expecting.
I
New
think-
Orleans, I fit right in.
Yeah, I think you're in the wrong
I
spot
molded
for
right
the
into
trash.
the culture there.
I think you need to be closer to Hotlanta for that.
Might be so.
What's
But,
on the docket, man? You just fucking cruising around doing whatever kind of shit, or you got any kind of itinerary?
Well, listen, my method of travel is always exploration first.
Gotcha.
Right? I'm an explorer. Like, I like to just get out here and start walking around. And I can't make any promises that I'm not going to talk to strangers.
Right.
You
You
can
know,
you
I
can
think
talk
it's-
to them. Just don't get in their vehicles. Drive off on your moped when you're done talking to them.
Fair enough.
If you could talk to some
tomorrow, I
strangers on the air, that would be kind of cool, man. Maybe get them on the podcast, you know?
Oh, maybe I can.
Line
It's
up a couple.
pretty- listen,
line up a couple guests for Friday.
Cove in the streets. And we could just
It's
keep it
kind
this
of-
way. Me and Payday will come here on Monday. You can be fucking somewhere else in the streets with your phone, and we'll just we'll make this a regular thing.
That's the next 50 podcasts
Somewhere-
we got lined up.
somewhere in America. Yeah, Cove is somewhere in America talking to strangers.
Cove on the streets.
Yep. That's
yeah.
it.
Well, here's the thing. The streets are kind of quiet out here, man. Right now, like I'm in the midst of a city block right now, and I don't see not a person. There's not anybody in sight. It's quiet. It's a quiet town. There goes somebody across the street. It's a quiet place, but so far so good. So, Biz,
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
you literally tore down the Jersey Fresh Jam.
Thank you, man.
Nice.
That's what I do. I go out there. I'm a staple in that community, you know?
Yeah.
Thank you. Of course.
And like I feel bad because here's the thing, okay? Right?
I'm here.
Biz did what Biz does when it came down to like somebody was up there, they were doing like spoken word or some shit. It was like a jazz club was happening in the
Highly
middle of the-
inaccurate. dude.
Slam poetry?
It's slander is
Middle
what
yard.
it is right now.
Somebody there was like a
Def
like
poetry
a girl
jam?
she had like a white colonial dress on, and there was a dude playing the cello. A bunch of people were like sitting in the front row snapping.
Highly inaccurate.
Everybody was snap clapping, and for whatever reason, this dude who was playing the cello points Biz out. He's like, "Yo, Biz Mighty, you want to come rap?" And you can't ask Biz to rap and expect him to
not.
deny that. Yeah.
Right.
So where there was like 6, maybe 7 people paying attention to the stage, Biz got on. DJ Just Ahmed drops a beat. Just Ahmed.
Just a mod.
Whatever. Yeah.
It's
Drops the
it's
beat.
just Ahmad, dude, and you didn't even get it right. You know what I mean? You did Ahmed for some other reason. I don't know. All praises
it's
due.
just-
I get it,
it's-
man.
It's just Ahmad. So
Yeah.
DJ Ahmad, just Ahmad,
DJ, it's
Or
just
Ahmad.
Ahmad, dude.
He's a good man.
just Ahmad, or okay, so fair enough. So just Ahmad drops the beat on this guy, and from 6 people, a crowd of about 30 comes out of the woodwork, and Biz just rocks him. Right?
Allegedly.
You know, he's back and forth on the stage. He's all freestyle too, right, Biz? There was no written
Just a
bars
master
in
of
there.
ceremony doing master of ceremony things. That's all
No,
that
God
is.
bless.
All freestyle, talking about Aknelli and Rich Quick and everybody in between,
Pretty much.
and
That's
and
a
killed
wide
it. And
diaspora of
Yeah.
rappers.
It's a whole lot. It's a big diaspora, a full diaspora, if you will.
that's what I'm saying. Shut it down. Absolutely shut it down. Even the girls, my 5-year-old niece and daughter were both like, "Wow, Mr. Biz is really good." We're like, "Yeah, Mr. Biz
That's-
is good." So
That's
we all
Mr.
went over
Mighty
there, we
to
gave
them,
him a
not
high
Mr.
five.
Biz.
The highlight of my night was the high fives and the praise and dap I got. They were the only people to really dap me up afterwards were the kids.
Allegedly.
They said to me, they were like, they're like, Mr. Biz is really good. I said, well, y'all should go tell him that. So then they
He's a
went
good
over
man.
to give him that.
Yeah, that was great,
Good
man.
man.
Really good, man.
Good
That was
man.
a good
Good
time.
man.
I think that, the 4 to 5 minutes I had on stage was maybe the highlight of the performances, and I'm not trying to come out of school. You know what I mean?
He's
No,
a good man,
listen.
actually.
I don't think you're talking out of turn by saying that. I think you're absolutely right that you had the best performance of the evening.
Right? Not even billed. That's what they get for not billing
And-
me.
That's their bad.
And here's the thing.
It is.
Sadly, after you did your thing, right? I want to go in here and buy a beer and get back over to the crib. I'm guessing they sell single beers in this joint, right? So after you did your thing, then comes this guy on and does the dreaded acapella.
Yeah, he did an acapella that was not worthy of acapella.
Pardon me.
It takes
Nah,
to
not
pull
at
off
all.
an acapella at a rap show.
Yeah.
It's got to be like a already well-known thing, or you better be incredible.
Yeah, it's like Miles was saying. He was like, unless it turns your emotion,
Right.
or if it's like, for the older crowd, like that super hypocritical spiritual shit, you know what I mean?
Right.
Where it's like really wordy, like the older guys will do the really wordy stuff.
Yeah.
And now younger guys, if they're attempting, it'll usually do something that moves you, know, where you want to listen to it, where it's more of a spoken word thing. This guy's just talking about how, he's folding his socks
Just
or
giving a
something.
TED
I don't
talk.
know what he's doing. He's just, it wasn't much though. Yeah. So it's true. It was poor decision making on their part for me to be the beginning of this guy's set because
Right.
he just was very lackluster in his whole, and Jersey support Jersey or whatever, but I'm a Philly dude, so I'm allowed to talk this shit.
But if you're there, they have to know who you are. And,
You
if,
up, partner?
and if nothing else, your energy.
Yeah.
Like, like
How you
you,
doing?
dislike you, whatever about your music, your energy. So you should be planned accordingly. Like you said, you
Yeah.
should be near the end.
Yeah.
If there's bigger, more famous acts, they got to go after you.
Right.
But you're an energy guy, so you should be not in between slow plotting things.
Yeah. I agree. I don't think that there was any reason. Cove hung up. I think he's buying a beer,
Yeah,
so we'll be
I'm
back
sure he'll
in
call
a
back
minute.
in.
Yeah. But yeah, I felt like it was just weird to be that guy because I felt like they put me in a position to shit on this other guy, which that wasn't my intention
No,
to just shit on this
that's not why
guy.
you're there.
But he was like, yeah, hand the mic to this guy, and I thought he was gonna freestyle. Then he started this whole set. I was like, oh man, you should have like had a buffer there or something.
But then if you ask his friends, right, there was that maniac that was on before you, and then you came up and did your thing all nice and calm, and you killed it.
Yeah. That guy was crazy.
Yeah, he
the
was
way that he
insane.
got the crowd all involved and everything, and
Right.
everyone was paying attention. What a maniac that guy is. What is he doing there? Cove, you back with us or what?
Yeah, I'm in a sketchy neighborhood, so I had to hang up for a little bit just because I didn't like what was happening there for a second. But I'm
If-
good now.
If you can get killed on the air, we could get at least 10 more listeners to the show, no problem.
Yeah, 10 to 12 maybe.
I'm sure of it.
So any other
but yeah,
complimentary
so-
things you want to say about me? Because I was digging that.
Nah, it was just sad that dude came with the acapella. I think at this point the acapella on a live show should be retired, no matter who you are, unless like maybe
I don't know, dude. I think like if you're a legendary MC and everyone knows the words to your shit,
Well,
dropping
yeah.
acapella is sick.
That's what I was saying. Everybody's got to either. Everybody has to know it. So as soon as you say the first word, everybody jumps in with you.
Yeah.
Then you're good on the acapella.
Also, if it's something where it's like incredibly flowy, like Rugged Man will do like Uncommon Valor and he'll drop out when he does the real
Right.
intricate shit. That's dope, and then everyone gets
fine,
to hang
yeah.
out with him,
Yeah.
and everyone gets to know the words or whatever. So I think it works. I just think that a lot of cats that rap now don't have that commanding presence. I think that if I was on stage without a beat and was freestyling, it probably would have even been better because I would have been focused more on what I was saying and less about riding the beat.
Right.
No, I think that you probably could. You would definitely do much better than old Bleach Blonde did. MC Bleach Blonde did after you. You would definitely have done a better acapella than him. And I think you're probably one of the cats who would do decent with an acapella. However, in comparison, if you took that same flow and the same bars and everything, took the beat out, gave it the same energy, and did it a cappella, I still think with the beat it hits harder.
I think so too, but I also think you change up. Like if I'm doing something a cappella, it's more of a spoken word thing. I don't have to worry about where my bars end or wherever. It's like the same thing like when you watch a battle. You watch a battle without a beat, you can pretty much do anything you want. There's pause for all different kinds of things, and then if you're doing it on a beat, it's more about flowing to the beat, it's more about delivering in cadence to the track, it's a different thing, but I think like for me personally, I know that if I listen back to like Jimmy Jambrone hit me up and he's like, oh, I got your whole performance on live, I'm going to be super critical of it because I'm going to be like, oh man, said that before, oh, that was a little whack, oh, I should have said this instead. Whereas if I was a cappella, I would have been paying way more attention to the words I was saying and way less attention to
the action.
Or just feeding off of the beat and feeding off the crowd and looking at whatever, you know what I mean? It's a different kind of thing. But that's what cats these days don't understand as far as the acapella goes, is that they're just spitting the same shit that they wrote to a beat, and now they're doing it without the beat. 9 times out of 10, especially in local hip-hop shows, that's because they couldn't get the beat, they couldn't get it without the vocals, they couldn't do this or whatever, or it's a song that they got with Milkbone and Milkbone didn't show up, you know what I mean? Or whatever the case may be. So
That sounds
I just
awfully
talked to
specific.
Milkbone a day ago. I just talked to Milkbone 2 days ago.
you know what I mean? You know what I'm
Actually,
saying, though.
Yeah, I do. I know exactly what you're saying. I love Milkbone. That's my guy, dude. I will never say a bad word about Milk.
Well, I'm not saying anything bad about Milkbone. I just think being a Cowboys fan living in this area is a
It's little
terrible
much,
decision making.
especially North Jersey. Like
It's just not
he's
right.
caught between two better choices and
Yeah, man.
made neither
Just
of
go
them.
be a Giants fan. I'll hate you less, dude. You
Right.
belong where you belong.
All right,
you know?
listen. I'll give you that. However, also, you can't. I look at Milk, and I mean, obviously, he far surpasses my success in the rap world, obviously.
Right.
But that guy is the epitome of TWDOG.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
I agree with you. I'm not saying it's not. And I
Without
think it's
doubt.
very early '90s white rapper of him, or however you want to put it, that he is a Cowboys fan. Like it makes sense because I liked Emmitt Smith in the early '90s too. You know what I mean? I even had
did
the
I.
Emmitt
I
Smith
did too.
jersey in the early '90s. Especially the one with the
Listen.
stars on it. But when I was a child, I didn't know any better. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was more for the clothing and what to wear.
Yeah, no, first grade, I definitely had the crew neck gray sweatshirt that had Daffy, Taz, and Bugs wearing Cowboys gear.
Yeah. It was hard though. It
Yeah.
wasn't about repping the team as much as it was repping the vibe.
First grade is one thing, but third grade you got to be able to say no, Mom, I can't wear this.
Third grade, let
gotta
alone
cut it
40
out.
years old.
That's the cutoff.
Yeah, no, by third grade, I cut it out because I know fourth grade, I was a Green Bay Packers fan.
Yeah, I did that too.
I
That was
was a
my
big fan
exact thing. I did the exact same thing. I got right into
I
Brett
was a
Favre.
big fan of Desmond Howard.
Desmond
was
Howard.
my guy. You couldn't
Number 21
tell
from
me nothing
Michigan.
about. He was 21 at Michigan. He was, I think, 81 when he played for the Packers.
Seems
I
like
don't believe Desmond Howard was 21 in the league. Maybe, in college he was.
Payday's pulling it up, dude. I can hear clicking happening over there. He's not playing this.
That's what he. Yeah.
fake
No,
fact
he's
shit.
all over that.
because 81's an odd number for his position at that time. But let's see.
He was a kick returner. He was a
He did-
wideout.
yeah, he did a
but
lot of stuff. He
only
was-
really played. He only really played special teams, but
Yeah.
he was like his slot was wideout.
Oh, they got his Michigan pictures of him. They're trying to erase his whole Green Bay history.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, They shouldn't. He was an exciting show to
Yeah.
watch.
Oh,
at that point.
he's got 81 on in that picture.
There it is. You
Yep.
know what you're
I know.
doing. He said, I know.
I do. Listen.
Look at this guy knows
I don't
sports
think-
from 1 year. He's
One
getting
time.
all cocky.
He's
Yeah.
got one sport
No,
and
no.
one
Here's
cartoon.
the thing, bro. Here's the thing. When I know something,
And River
I stand
Monsters.
by it.
Yeah,
You know
absolutely.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
River Monsters, and what else do I watch?
You made
And
a
Burn
Dr.
Notice.
Katz
Burn
reference the
Notice.
other day. Payday was telling me.
I made a Dr. Katz reference.
Yeah, you did.
Not on purpose.
Really caught me off guard.
Yeah, no, I definitely. What was I talking about? John Lovitz? I don't remember that. What did I say that was a Dr. Katz?
That's the critic. let's
Yeah,
let's
okay.
swerve you off of this topic.
Yeah, before everyone gets lost.
So listen, whatever
Allegedly.
Dr. Katz reference you thought I made,
It wasn't.
it was just a coincidence.
Yeah, just a coincidence.
Don't do that. Let me hold my joy inside. Don't crush me like that.
Yeah. Oh, here's another thing.
I'm sorry. to
Cove's
step
telling
off
me
the
you're
pedestal.
doing a podcast with Big Cuz, right? You're doing the gig with Big Cuz, and I believed him wholeheartedly to the point that the next time I saw Big Cuz, I said, "Yo, what are you doing with Payday? What's up with you doing the gig with Payday?" And Big Cuz is looking at me like I fucking caught him with his pants down, jerking off the tranny porn, and he's like fucking looking at me
Again?
like, "Oh, again," and he's looking at me like, I don't know. I was like, I do shows with a lot of people. I don't know. I'm sorry. I don't know what I did. And meanwhile, I tell Cove about it, and Cove's like, no, it's fucking busting your balls. I was like, Big Cuz. It's like, you should have known I was joking. And then fucking fast forward 2 weeks later, you know what I mean? We're trying
Yeah.
to get on the radio with Big Cuz.
Big cuz. It was
Look
all
at
part
us.
of the plan.
Yep. Full circle.
Yeah.
So what were you listening to down there? You listen to the new Kanye West, dude? That's all the talk of the town right now is the Donda. You listen to any Donda?
Let me ask you this, right? You
Yeah.
know me. You bros know me. Do y'all think that I decided to put on Kanye West to give it a spin just to see what was happening?
There's no chance.
Well, here's the thing, Cove. Like, if you want to do a podcast and you want to stay a little bit relevant and have things to talk about besides things you did when you were 17 years old, you kind of got to get on top of current events and what's going on in the world because people that are listening want to hear things like that. You know what I mean? So for next time, maybe when like a big thing comes out and all your social media is talking about it, like just give it a spin just for knowledge. You know what I'm saying? I gave it a spin. I just want to be current.
It's funny that you say that because that's the thing that I actually thought to myself too. Like maybe I should listen to it.
You should listen to
for
that voice
podcasting
in your head.
purposes. Yeah.
Yeah, didn't Blake
Yeah,
tell you 8 out of 10
podcasting
times you
purposes.
should listen to that voice and you'll be good?
Yeah, Blake said that allegedly.
Like, okay.
Kanye West's a good man.
I believe
That's
he is a good man.
Allegedly.
So let me ask you this: what did you think of Donda?
nice.
Because
Good.
like
it back
Fat,
on him.
Yeah,
like
that's
Fat-
good.
Like Fat Keller told me, every time he hears Donda, he thinks of the Petey Crack song, on the Crack Files Volume 4, where he goes Donda Donda, they ready to casa.
Yeah.
Mighty Cohen, tap my phone, trying to find out the product. I'm a product of the ghetto. The problem I solve it. And I could rap Petey bars forever, but
Yeah.
and I tend to agree. That's pretty much how I view Don. That's like my review on it. So give me yours.
So I listened to it 3 times in a row straight through. I listened to it when I first woke up in the morning, as soon as I knew that it dropped, just because it was the talk of the town as far as I could tell. So I listened to it and I liked it. I wasn't like absolutely blown away like people were blown away, but I liked it. From start to finish, I thought it was creative and cool and different, and he kind of touched on everything. There's no language in it, and the language that's in it is edited out, or at least that's what I heard on mine. I also like that. I play it with my daughter, and I don't feel as, weird about, like we're on
He's a
Yay.
man of the Lord now. Yeah.
His last album, Yay, like I love that album. I really thought that album was fucking phenomenal and really artistically, like, just well done from start to finish. I really liked that album. Like, it was my maybe second or third favorite. I'm a big Kanye mark. Like, I love Kanye. I love that I live on the planet with Kanye. Like, I love that because he's just such a maniac, and I'm a maniac, so I identify a little bit with him. And I think that he's so divisive and he's such a magnanimous force that he's just like, you can't, I feel like you have to pay attention to it to some degree because he demands it to an extent. That being said, like, I thought there was a lot of good songs on it. I thought there was a lot of good guest appearances on it. I think some of the songs were a little bit of a miss for me, but I didn't change any of the songs. Like, I listened to it, no lie, 3 times. I listened to it in the morning, I listened to it on the way to Jersey Fresh, and I listened to it on the way back from Jersey Fresh. So I listened to it enough to be like, oh, this is a solid piece of work, in my opinion. I didn't like I wasn't. Here's the thing that I have a problem with the Donda thing. People are like obsessed with Kanye to the point where it's like everything that Kanye does, like he can do no wrong, and then people like defend Kanye like he's their Lord and Savior. And then that's weird to me because, like, for me, like, there's a lot of people, and then, like, someone will say something like, oh, yeah, like I just said, right? Like, I just said it didn't change my world, you know? And then some Kanye lover will be like, it didn't change your world? What are you, out of touch? Like, what do you not fucking get it, man?
You're too old to it's passed you by.
Yeah, but that's not where I'm at. Like, you know, I don't want to be the guy who's out of touch because I remember those guys growing up where it's like, oh, yeah, if it's not fucking Tribe Called Quest, it's bullshit.
You can dislike something without it specifically being because you're too old for it.
Yeah,
you can listen to
so.
it and say, I just don't like it.
Yeah, well, I liked it. I just didn't love it.
I'm not saying
this.
Just in general, like that's going to get hung on you more and more because you're a little younger than either me or Sean.
Right.
But that's going to more and more get hung on you. I don't like this. Oh, that's because you're an old man. You don't understand it.
But dude's
no,
my age.
You could actually understand. He's older than you, isn't he?
No, yeah. Oh, who?
Kanye,
yeah. But I'm saying, like, in general, dudes my age
would
be like, you know, like, oh, this is incredible. This is a year older than me, 2 years, 5 years old, whatever.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I'm not sure if it's really like, it's like comedy to me. Like, if I don't think that Richard Pryor is a top 5 comedian, I'm in my right to not think Richard Pryor is in the top 5 comedians.
You'd
you know
be
what I mean?
wrong, but you are within your rights.
He is in my top 5. What I'm saying is, I am in my right to not find certain person funny.
You can absolutely have an opinion without it automatically being trashed just because it's not the common opinion.
So music should be the same way.
It is mostly the people who are standing for him are just there's something else wrong with them. But besides just having an opinion.
I always find it to be the same people that love Kanye West that trash the Beatles. Like, it's like, I love the fucking Beatles.
There's
like
nothing wrong. Well, you can't trash the Beatles.
That's what I'm saying.
It's like an impossibility.
But there's so many people that trash the Beatles.
Me.
Well, you can try. You can try, but ultimately, if you're being honest about it, if you're listening to the music and you're listening to music, the Beatles are the foundation of 90% of what you hear right now.
Right.
And the people who make the music will tell you that these guys are why I do it. These guys are how I do it. These guys did shit that nobody did before.
Right.
And every time they put out an album, kind of redirected the music all around them.
They're the Bruno Sammartino and the Ric Flair.
Exactly. Definitely. The Ric Flair is perfect because every time he moves, he pulls the tide with him.
Right.
Whether they are or are not becomes irrelevant when it comes to listenability.
Yeah, but that's what we're kind of getting to anyway. Payday's saying to you right now that they created genres. They created a facet. They created lanes for all other music to exist. Maybe not all other music, but so many platforms of music to exist.
You show me the lineage.
Show me the lineage of Petey Crack, Sean. Show me the lineage. What did Petey Crack do that changed the fucking musical world?
He used to buy PCP on the same block.
Okay, so did fucking so did you.
That's a strong argument.
Not a strong argument. Terrible argument. Jesus Christ.
Listen, I'd like to see the lineage of how the Beatles influenced Kevin Gates, and then I will allow y'all to say that they created 95% of what happens in music today.
So text me that request, and then I'll have that ready for Friday.
No, I'm not arguing with you over that.
Yeah, because he'll cream you because he's right. Because the Beatles are a fucking essential part of music, and Kevin Gates is not. Nothing changes in the world if Kevin Gates doesn't exist, except for your love of Kevin Gates.
Correct.
All right.
Here's the thing.
Well, I'm glad that we've identified that your personal relationship outshines your fucking credibility as a person that listens to music.
I mean, at the point at which we have the Beatles and Petey Crack on the same platform,
yeah, what the
already
fuck is going on?
Listen, I used to play the game of like dissecting music and saying like, oh well, this shit is ill because of X, Y, and Z and the way they did this and the fucking sample that took from this and the fucking pattern that was with this, and dissect it like a goddamn scientist. And you know I did because you know how I write and that I can fucking make music, right?
Sure. Okay.
I've come to a point in life where it's less relevant, the science of the music, and more relevant if the music moves me or not. Which maybe I'm a sucker and maybe I have
no. That's
what the masses are at this point, and like instead of dissecting it like a technician, I just kind of go with what most people do, where I'm like, I'm feeling this because it makes me feel it, or I'm not feeling it because I don't feel it.
So
Nobody's
that's
going to tell you that Menace Monroe is a fucking technician musically.
right. So
But I'll be damned if I don't ride around in the truck feeling like a
No, that-
motherfucking
and
gangster listening to him.
and that's fine, and that's your position, and that's something different than what we're discussing. It's perfectly fine to say
Correct.
I like Menace Monroe and I don't like Drake. That's fine. That's not a problem. It's when people start to destruct the music to they're not important or they didn't do it. They never did anything special. They're two different conversations we're having. You want to sit there and listen to Menace Monroe all day? Go right the fuck ahead. Enjoy yourself. He's on Spotify. But that doesn't lessen the impact that the Beatles had on the entire history of music.
Yeah, and coming from somewhere where you did dissect music or you did look at like what these people did or whatever, at any point that's part of your growth as a human being. So you can then look at the White Album or fucking Sgt. Pepper's or anything and be like, holy shit, this is fucking groundbreaking shit, whether you like it or not. The same way if Richard Pryor wasn't in my top 5, I could say I don't find Richard Pryor funny, but I know that he's a top 5 comedian because A, B, C, and D. You know, it's just someone that exists. The reason I even brought up the Beatles is because, to me, I love Kanye West. The best of Kanye West isn't as good as my least favorite Beatles album, which might be like Revolver. You know, like to me, it's just not on that level of music. And it's like the same cats that are arguing, like, how dare the fucking blasphemy be spoketh about my great dear God Kanye West? And they're the same people that think that Lennon and McCartney weren't the most important writers in the fucking modern generation of music.
Well, listen, I don't think Kanye, in my humble opinion, I don't think Kanye, I think that he did great things in the music industry, but I'm not sure that he did anything that was like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, he didn't reinvent the wheel here.
He kind of
just
did.
fucking he just made a really good wheel.
I'm not nearly the Kanye fan that most people are who listen to the music. But I will tell you for sure, when the historians write the book on this chapter of music, he will be credited as closing out the golden era with his first trilogy and starting an entire new era with 808 and My Dark Twisted Fantasy.
100%.
Everything that came well, not everything, but a lot of what came after 808s and My Dark Twisted Fantasy really relied on that style for inspiration and really sound like that in a lot of ways, and nothing really sounded like that. You know, at least in the big picture before that. So what, November 9th, 1993, Enter the 36 Chambers and Midnight Marauders come out. And that's considered this swivel point in music where like the happy party kind of music and the conscious music goes away and the Wu-Tang street gutter music takes over from that point.
Right.
Kanye created a pivot point all by himself on both ends of it with the trilogy and then with 808s and with My Dark Twisted Fantasy. Now, as far as Donda's concerned,
They rated me casa, my phones at my phone trying to
I can't let it go, dude.
So we were talking like last week or 2 weeks ago about the Scoville scale that rates peppers and how hot they are. And basically the Scoville scale is this measure of how much would I have to dilute this pepper in order for it to not be hot anymore, and that's how they scale it.
I got a new scale for it too.
So
the scrambled egg scale. How many scrambled eggs?
How much scrambled egg do I got to
does
put
it
in there
take to calm down my Scotch bonnet?
So either way, so the point is that scale is like, it's the scale of importance is based on how you zero it out, right? You understand what I'm saying? Like this scale represents what it would take to forget that you ate that. So Kanye. Correct. As of recent, I would say not recent anymore, but I put him on the Kanye scale, which is how many times do I have to listen to the first 3 albums to remember why he's one of the greats after listening to this last album?
Well put, man.
And Donda, honestly, only like 2 or 3 times. It's not a bad album. It is nothing legendary or game changing. It's not super interesting, but it's not destructive and it's not bad. It's good background music, and it's okay at that role, which I don't want from him per se, but I'm not going to hold the album to a standard just because he's got a name that I recognize. That album's okay. It'll go into my rotation, but it'll be at the back end of the rotation for sure. There are other albums that have come out from him recently that are way more trash than this. It was okay.
How did you feel about Ye?
about the same.
Yeah, see,
about
I
the
really,
same.
really liked Ye. Like Ye, because I just felt like it was. I felt like it was peak crazy Kanye,
Right.
like where he was just like really fucking on one, and like that. I thought about killing you to that. Like the way that whole shit started out, I was just like, this dude is a fucking treasure to be treasured.
And that's the other thing about him. And for better or for worse, the social circle, the social cyclone that he's created around himself. It makes it harder to judge the music.
Right.
Because now, like even with Donda's been, it's coming out. Oh, here's a leak. Oh, now he's moving into the Mercedes-Benz Stadium to write the rest of the music.
Right.
Oh, he's not happy with it. Oh, he's gonna remix like he did what he did with it with The Life of Pablo. And Wolves, and he put it out, and then he put it out again, and he remixed it. Fucking stop.
Yeah.
We can wait. We're still waiting on Lupe Fiasco's album. We can wait for you to finish the album and put out your finished product. It'll be okay. And you don't need to be in the news the whole way between when you said it was coming and now. We can calm the fuck down. I know that's him now, but we can calm the fuck down with all that.
Wait.
Nobody was on Twitter waiting for
but
graduation.
Right. This is true.
There's a dude in Oregon who went on hunger strike until Donda was released.
And that man should be committed.
Yeah,
Right? There's
I
no
agree.
other way around it. That man should be committed.
But it shows you how fucking like how magnetic this dude's force is.
Yeah.
Like he's peak Britney Spears bald head with his cooter out.
Yeah.
And everyone's going
and
nuts
people are
about
doing
it.
hunger strike about it.
Yeah, but no one. That's not
Yeah, well,
happening
this
in
is the thing.
music.
This is-
You know what I
this
mean?
is the world.
It doesn't
This is the
happen.
world. This is the world we're in. This is the world we're in, right? Like, I agree. You could leave that all the antics alone, right? However, that's like our generation and upwards. Is like, just give us the fucking music. Stop with the silly shit.
I don't know. Well, like what
The generations behind us they like love that fucking all the hubbub that surrounds an artist because of the internet and social media.
Yeah, it's the social media
being
generation.
Being a character is highly regarded. So now not only is he making music that whether it's good or it's not good is to each his own opinion, but you can't deny his fucking character.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like the dude has created, whether it's real or he's really that whether he's really that crazy or this is a thing he created, or manifested or is just a character that he's playing. It's like you said, Biz. I like the word you used. He's magnanimous. Like he's a character that demands the attention that you need to demand in order to be like at the top of the game in this fucking day and age.
But you say that, and in 2 or 3 days, Drake's new album's going to come out, and it's going to crush the sales of Kanye's album without blinking an eye. And I'm not saying it's going to be a better album or a worse album, but Drake doesn't show
I
up.
venture to say it'll be better.
Drake doesn't show up on Twitter 95 fucking times a day with his lunacy. Drake doesn't marry a Kardashian. Drake doesn't need to be
but
up
Drake's
and in front.
also not heavily coveted to see on Jimmy Fallon, or like people aren't like waiting for that.
Sure,
you think they are?
Oh yeah, he did.
Maybe I'm out of touch.
He had the whole break-in commercial in the middle of Sports Center, like where like they did like the "We took over your station" and they flashed a little thing for the album's coming out on the 3rd or whatever. It's the same with Travis
because
Scott. Like
people
Travis Scott is
haven't
a monster right now.
Yeah.
If Travis Scott put out an album the same day as Kanye, Travis would probably outsell Kanye. And yeah, he does some things that go public. I'm not saying he's a hermit, but he's like the lunacy is not there. It doesn't need to be there just because this is the Twitter generation.
Yeah, but you don't. I mean,
listen, no,
and
no, no,
Kanye-
no,
and-
but here's
and-
the
and
thing,
the-
you just said it perfectly. You just said it perfectly. Is that nobody is like waiting on the lunacy of Drake because he didn't cultivate that fucking lunatic character, so nobody expects it from him.
Kanye's lunatic
Kanye
character is
keeps having
a relatively new thing. This isn't
he
a
has to
thing.
keep out Looney Tuning himself.
But
He
this
needs to
isn't a
keep
thing for his
Bugs
whole
Bunnying
career. This is a
himself
newer
each
thing.
fucking
This
year.
is really post his mom dying. He
Yeah.
lost his shit, which again, if that's the way it is, okay, I understand. Especially the way that he lost her was sudden and tragic. That can fuck a person up. No problem. I'm not saying he shouldn't be who he is, but you don't need that fucking puppet show to be a great musician. You're already going to be considered great no matter what you do.
Right.
So maybe calm the fuck down, go back into the studio, relax for a little bit, and finish the album before it comes out.
I think I would venture to say that the
he can't
music would
calm
be
down.
better if he would calm down a little bit, because maybe he'd release all that extra shit away from him and
Get the energy
internalize
off
it
before
and
he starts
use it in the
writing.
music
Yeah.
or use it, you know?
Yeah.
He can't calm down. He's stuck in this fucking same goofy cycle that the generation after us is getting stuck in. Is that fucking thirst for attention?
But
and
he's
that thirst to do
he's
the next
choosing it.
thing for people to talk about.
But,
it.
like, back
Yeah,
to
I'm not saying
Payday's
he's
point.
Not choosing it. But that's like him, like it's just being stuck in that.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If he's
think about
not
the music.
stuck.
I'm with you.
He's not stuck. He's choosing this because, like we said, he's already established as a great artist well before really this generation is even born. So he could just put out albums like Kanye West put out a new album. Oh shit, I forgot he was alive, and then it's still a classic.
Yeah,
and it wouldn't matter.
But
it
I
doesn't
don't think
affect him.
I
He
don't
doesn't
think-
need to be like a Tekashi 6ix9ine who, like, unless his face is plastered on your screen, you're gonna forget that he even fucking exists.
Right.
He's well past this fucking.
yeah, he's a
childish
legendary
shit.
dude,
Yeah.
honestly. Yeah, and
Yeah,
like,
but I don't think he touches the younger generation the same way he does now, and the same way that they're standing for him, and you know Kanye is their god. Like the same way that's happening now. If he's just calm, old head OG who puts out an album every 2 years, I think it's still a good album. It still does numbers, but I don't think it touches the kids who are fucking 22 years old who grew up in the social media generation who are looking at their fucking artists, actresses, writers, you know, all
yeah, but
these
that
people
that
to
goes
be
against Payday's point. Like
characters.
to me, I agree with you because I'm obsessed with his character, and I'm obsessed with when he talks, and I'm obsessed with him on Rogan, and I'm obsessed with him on Sway, and I love that shit. I just love watching shit like that. I love the
He
character
bored
that
the
he
hell
is.
out of me on Rogan.
Oh, I thought he was great because he went on these tangents, and some of the tangents made sense, and some of them made no sense. And he's humble enough to know that he doesn't know that much, so he like admits to that shit. I just like him. So to me, he doesn't do much wrong for me, right? But I also go back
Yeah.
to Payday Point because in my head, when Kanye drops, it's like, holy shit, fucking
Right.
Kanye drop. But then he tells me something like Drake's probably going to outsell him, Travis Scott's probably going to outsell him. So to that point, they're not plastered all over the place doing crazy shit. Like Travis Scott did that awesome fucking Fortnite thing. I literally logged into my Fortnite account to watch that. Like that was a cool thing that was done, right? And like to me, like Drake's not the guy because I don't like that kind of shit necessarily. Not like I don't like it. It's when it's musical, it's good. When I like it, I like it. You know, back to the same thing we've been talking about. But like Drake has like a whole fucking huge fan base of these people that I am just not in touch with to
Right.
the point where
That
I
will kill
where-
for him.
Right, where I think like when Drake drops, I'm like, holy shit, Drake drops, because I don't associate with people that are holy shit Drake dropped. I
Right.
just don't know those people.
Right.
I know those Kanye people because we were in the generation when College Dropout dropped, and we were in the generation when fucking Late Registration dropped, and even Graduation dropped, and all, you know what I mean? And we loved all those albums, and we love Kanye, and to watch him be this figurehead of like almost like of mental illness, you know what I mean?
It really is.
And like and I for one can identify with that a little
Sure.
bit, and being shot out and jumping out of windows and saying ridiculous shit without recourse, you know? And so I love him, but back to your point, it's like, and what you're saying, Cove, is almost irrelevant because it's like not shitting on what you're saying. I'm just saying, like, if the case is that Travis Scott can drop and outsell Kanye, Drake can drop and outsell Kanye, then what Kanye's doing is almost like he's like jumping out a whole window just for the attention so he could sell half as many records as Drake. You know, and if that's the case, maybe not half as many, but whatever the case may be, if he's getting outsold by a dude who's just doing it with way more class and dignity, then it almost looks like you're fucking reaching, bro. It almost looks like Tekashi 6ix9ine, honestly.
Yeah, Drake outsells Kanye because the music is better.
I don't think that
yeah,
necessarily.
and
right, but go ahead.
Kanye's bread and butter is producing, so that should not be the case. I think you're 100% right that the music is better and more digestible
All right, now
and more palatable.
back to the Beatles.
So now full circle, it comes that you've proven that I don't need to listen to the Kanye album. I'll listen to the Drake joint when it drops next week.
You do whatever you want to do.
What else you got, man? What else is on the list?
Did
We've
you
been
watch?
talking about Kanye
You
for
watch?
like
You
20
catch any
minutes.
of that Jake Paul thing?
No, what happened with it?
So I watched. So here's the thing. I watched all the undercards because I was kind of excited about the undercards. I'm a big fight fan, right? And I missed UFC
Yeah,
on.
I love a good fight.
I missed
Saturday night.
UFC on Saturday because I was at Rob D's birthday party. So I had it on for a little bit, and then people were asking me to DJ off my phone, so I did that instead, and I missed a lot of stuff. And there was like a local dude that needs some dude to face and knocked him out. I probably should have been more on top of that. Don't know that guy, but he was tagged in my post today about the gig, so I'm going to bring him up. I watched a replay of it, and it looked like what I expected to. Like, I almost bet on it because the world is professional wrestling. So, like, everyone's
That's
over
why
there.
you don't bet on it.
Well, that's why I would, because I would think that Jake Paul's going to win this fight,
Okay,
because Tyron Woodley's not going to win this fight because he's just there for the check. Also, Jake Paul took way less of a purse than Tyron Woodley. He took way less of a purse than he needed to, so all these undercards could make some bank,
Right.
which is something that Dana White, one of my fucking favorite people on the planet for bringing me some of the favorite fight cards that I've ever seen in my life, is not doing for the fight industry. That Ben Askren or whoever the fuck else is going over there to fight is making a real payday, enough to a point that they are sacrificing a little bit of their dignity to go sit out in front of these people. And like when Floyd Mayweather fought the Paul brother or whatever it was, he knocked him the fuck out. Like he knocked him out and held him up and clinched him and gave him a good fight, and then there was no deciding factor or whatever, and they both made some great money from that, and it elevated the entire sport. Like this is the same thing. Well, money-wise,
Okay.
it's like the
All
same
right.
thing that Conor did when Conor fought Floyd.
Right.
Like when Conor fought Floyd, he made all this chicken, and then he went back, and then all of a sudden, UFC cards started making a little bit more money just based off of Conor McGregor stepping out into the boxing realm.
Sure.
And dude, UFC is so much higher than boxing right now in my circles anyway.
No,
people
it
are
is
100% more invested in the UFC. Unless it's Anthony Joshua, Deontay Wilder, or Tyson Fury,
No
people
one's
don't
watching
give
boxing.
a shit.
Right? No, you're right. But this is not that. Like, I don't see the crossover that brings you from Jake Paul to Deontay. Like,
I agree.
Like this
But
is Carnival Barker shit. This is all circus
100%.
shit.
But this is also people that are not going to otherwise watch boxing now watching boxing.
Which in some ways is delegitimizing the boxing.
Agreed, 100%.
So
but
then it's detrimental in the long run.
I guess, but if you see it for what it is, like if you're not on benzos and
Oh,
you
no.
fucking get it,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? You can see that what this is a money grab for a lot of people, and that you
Absolutely.
expect to see what's going to happen.
Yeah, it's a clown show.
Tyron Woodley looked fucking fantastic. He should have won that fight. If he was trying to win that fight and didn't look timid, he would have won that fight. I don't think that the cards were in play for him to win that fight.
Tyron Woodley has looked timid in his last 5 fights.
Yeah, okay.
Since-
but
since-
he's a
let me ask
brawler,
you
and
this.
he got him nice when he got him up against the ropes. I mean, I thought that like, so I didn't
He
watch
should
the
have
whole
finished
fight.
him in what, the third? He should have.
That's what I'm
He should have
saying.
laid him out in the third, but he's been gun shy since he fought Kamaru.
Yeah. It's true. But
All right, so how about this, right?
And the last thing, look, a lot of people, it's fixed. He took it easy on him. And this, okay, fine. But the last thing he would want to do, of all the possible outcomes to that fight, even though he's probably not going to fight in the UFC anymore and just be a commentator and whatnot, the last fucking thing he would want to do is get knocked the fuck out by one of the Paul brothers. You can go the distance and lose your little bad decision.
we didn't get knocked the fuck
No,
out.
but that's what I'm saying. We're talking about him being gun shy and whatnot. So the last thing you would want to do is go in aggressively and make a mistake and wind up on your back,
Yeah.
and then get knocked out by one of these
Yeah,
fucking
but you're
motherfuckers.
putting it in there like it's not fixed. Like I think that they both went into this knowing what it's going to
Well-
be. They're going to give him a nice fucking 10 rounds, and they're
Right.
going to leave happy and wealthy. You
All
know.
right. So that's certainly a possibility.
Yeah, and
especially
what
the
you're
way the
saying is a
fight went down.
possibility too.
Yeah.
But I never view it that way because I'm just such a pro wrestling mark that
Right.
I just see the fix before it's the fix. You know.
Right.
Every other fight on that card was an easy favorite. Every single one of those fights. You could have you could have fucking parlayed 9 fights on that card and won easily just by picking the favorites.
Just by picking the favorites.
That was it. Every fucking favorite one. I might be wrong, but I'm almost positive that everyone that was going to win won. There was a couple close calls. That girl fight that was right before, that was a little bit closer than I expected because the Mexican girl never even got knocked down before. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so that was like, maybe that goes the other way, but it didn't. So, I don't know. But to me, I love it. And then when I heard the backstory of it about him taking less of a purse and hooking everybody up, I'm like, yeah, fuck Dana White. And I love Dana White. You know what I mean? But I just love the idea of him, like, elevating these people's pockets. You know what I mean? For whatever it's worth. You're right. It does delegitimize it a little bit, but boxing sucks right now.
It does. It
So,
does.
like, if it got to be a fucking Triller fight or it got to be, you know what I mean, whatever this is, like, I think it's still good for the sport because the sport's in shambles.
But that's historically what happens with boxing. Boxing just like the WWF, it comes and goes in waves.
Right.
It has like these high dips of popularity and then these low lows of like no one's ever going to watch this again, and then all of a sudden you get that Mike Tyson or that you get somebody
Or
who
Floyd,
just
yeah.
or Floyd, or Mayweather. You get somebody who catches fire and re-elevates the sport, because as much as the promoters would try to make you think it's otherwise, it's a very individual sport.
Right.
People tune in for a guy.
Yeah.
And no matter what. Like, there is no convincing a person, all the guys on this card are Gold Gloves. All these guys have skill. They're all strikers, so it's going to be some bloodbath. You want to no. Sugar Ray Leonard is fighting. Oh, I'm going to watch it. He's 80 years old. No, I'm going to watch it. It's Sugar Ray Leonard.
Or like Bernard, when Bernard fought his
exactly.
last fight. I was like, it was my week. I was ready for
Roy
it.
Jones Jr., same thing.
Yeah.
Like they're tuning in for the guy no matter what, but it's just how you make the next guy.
Yeah.
And that's why it comes and goes in waves.
Yeah, well, wrestling.
Yeah,
it's
that's what I'm saying.
legitimately
Yeah.
wrestling. And
Yeah.
that's why you can always do smart money in UFC that way, too, even though UFC is almost a totally different thing. Because I don't tune in the UFC to see a guy. I like guys that I want to see win or I want to see fight. I love Derek Lewis.
Yeah.
I was going to throw a fucking $1,000 on that fight because I was so fucking sure that he was going to win that fight. Now, Derek Lewis isn't like an incredible brawler.
No.
He's
He's a fun guy.
He has good strength, and he's that kind of guy that just catches you.
And
you know what I mean?
He just got off the beer delivery truck to come fight. Like
Yeah.
Like he's just common.
Oh,
guy
I love
fighting.
him to die. I've loved him for
Yeah.
fucking 8 years. You know what I mean?
The UFC though, if you're betting on the UFC, you're only really going to make decent money if you're betting dogs. So you got to find the dogs who have a legitimate shot at winning and not just the puncher's chance type of stuff. You make your money finding the dogs in the fights and getting those dogs because when they go, because
I won money on Blachowicz.
Because there's so many uneducated fans that bet on it, but the pool for the UFC is very small. So like in an NFL setting, right? You got the Eagles and the Cowboys, and there's somebody from Philadelphia who's just big Philadelphia guy, and so he just comes $30,000 on the Eagles to win the game.
Yeah.
It's not going to do anything to the line. But in the UFC, you get somebody who's just a big Conor McGregor guy and throws $2,000 on Conor McGregor. He's moving the line.
Right.
So you need to find your dogs in the UFC, and that's where you can really take small bets and make them big.
Yeah.
And that's a whole different. Like you got to be really invested in the UFC.
But even taking betting away from it, I feel like when you're talking about an individual sport, like boxing is very individual sport. But I don't think that people, I think far and wide, especially when money's not involved, that are watching the UFC, which I enjoy way more when I don't have money involved because I just
You're
can.
not
I can
fretting.
Right. And I'm a big underdog rooter, but the underdog doesn't often win, thus underdog, right? So I bet the same way. When I do bet on UFC, I try to find 2 or 3 guys that I think are going to win, and then a couple guys that I think are underdog, and I just throw a little bit of money on a big parlay and hope for the best.
To see what happens.
Because if I throw $50 out and I got an opportunity to win $1,000, then that's fun, right? And
or
I
you just eat 50.
Right, and that's it. And whatever, but I find myself enjoying it more when I just tune in and just enjoy the fucking fights, dude.
Oh yeah, I
because the UFC cards are like incredible. Like this upcoming card that's coming up, like
was it like 268 are we at? Or
yeah,
something like that?
268, dude. The card is like top to bottom, like ridiculous. Rose is fighting. Who's the main card? Whatever. It's losing me right now, but I'm so excited for it, and it's just like
Usman. It's Usman.
Oh
and
yeah, that's
Covington.
right. That's right.
I got a lot to say about them, but
what, foot kicks and MAGA hats?
No, the MAGA hat thing. That plays right into
Kanye West.
Exactly right.
But I love him for it, dude.
I hate him for it.
I know
hate
you
him
do.
for it because I get what he's
Because
going.
you hate MAGA.
Well, no, but I get what he's
Yeah,
going
simple.
for. Yeah, no, it's
Simple as that.
but it's more than that because that's the whole point of being the heel. Pick something I hate and sort of amplify it. That's what a heel does.
But I
So
love
then
that
he's-
he does
yeah,
that.
so then
Don't
he's
you
doing
love that
his
he does
job.
that as a wrestling fan? Don't you love the fact that
No.
he's taking it and turning it into something?
Not that one, I don't know if I can articulate it right, but that particular choice of that particular heel lane is a very specific set of. This is now what I'm pretending I believe in to be the heel. And some of it is so vile and disgusting, especially like with the people he's getting in the ring with, that it's like it's outside of the scope of playing the heel game. Now you're doing something a little more disgusting.
Yeah, I get it, but for me, I think it's because I'm such a dirty heel. Like naturally, I'm a heel,
Right.
So like I see that, and I'm like, yeah,
no.
motherfucker.
I
Because like, if
completely-
2 dudes are battle rapping each other, and this dude's been talking crazy
Yeah.
shit about his family, like I want to see it. Like I love Disaster,
Yeah.
because Disaster's not holding any punches.
Right.
You know what I mean? I want to see him say shit that's irrehensible.
And that's fine. And that's what the heel is supposed to do. I'm agreeing. Like,
Right.
80s wrestling is Iron Sheik is the
Or
heel.
think about New Jack coming out and
Yeah.
fucking and Smoky
Right.
Mountain Wrestling.
That's what I'm saying. It's that one specific thing that he's chosen, not the idea of being the heel, not the idea of pretending.
Is it more
to be
so
the
that
heel.
he's accepted in that culture, like that he was in the selected few celebrities at President Trump's whatever?
I don't. That's because he doesn't believe. I honestly believe, based on the scope of paying attention to him, he doesn't believe most of the stuff that he's doing to be a heel, which is what a heel does.
Right.
So the fact that like other people are seeing this and buying into that, that's the carnies and the rubes. That part is beautiful.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that part is like, you fucking suckers really think
That's how I
that-
feel about the Jake Paul thing to
Yeah.
an extent. You
Well,
know what I mean?
yeah.
Even though it's different, it's not heels and faces, but you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, and I root for him, dude, because I love a
got you.
heel. You know what I mean? I just love a good
wanna,
heel.
I want to see, but see, so he's the heel, so I want to see him get his block knocked
And
off
I think
again.
most people do, which
Yeah.
is why
Which
me
is-
naturally want to see him win.
Right.
Big, you know what I mean? And when he lost, though, when he lost to Usman the first time, I loved it because
Yeah.
it was like,
Yeah,
yeah, good
pieced up.
motherfucker.
Yeah.
It was the
You
same.
deserve it.
Yeah, well, because at the same time, when you root for a heel, you expect them to lose.
They got to lose at some point. They got
and you know that the whole crowd, it's like watching, you know what I mean? It's like watching when the Eagles play the Cowboys and the Eagles win and you see the little fucking 5-year-old kid crying with the
Yeah.
Cowboy shirt on.
I'm
It's
good
like,
with that.
oh, I love that.
Go with that.
You know?
Learn
And
a lesson, kid.
The same kind of thing. It's the same kind of thing where on the opposite spectrum,
Yeah.
you have the crowd just erupts. Like
Yeah.
this dude's covered in
yeah.
blood.
You
He's
get the
getting his
pop.
face blooded
Yeah.
and shit. Dude,
For
it's,
sure.
It's good times. But
For
yeah,
sure.
I'm always going to root for the heel.
But
I
yeah.
think
So
it's
here's
good.
my question. Here's where I go. So now we've watched Jake Paul win how many fights?
6 or 7 in a row.
Okay. So is the next fight the one that we bet against him?
No, I don't think you ever bet against him. I honestly think that the fix is in. So I don't think that unless he gets an ego
Gig is
and
up
unless
the
he
gig is on.
I think that I think unless he gets an ego and really thinks that he's something that he's not, which I think the last couple of fights have proved that he's not something, and I think that he knows it from getting punched in the fucking mouth. So I don't think that he's going to go and take on something where it's not a little bit of a, hey, man, we're going to do like this and we're going to amp it up. And similar to how Conor and Floyd did a whole tour where they just talk shit on each other, and it was fantastic. I loved it.
So
You know?
it was good fun, but at any point in time, did you think Conor was going to win that fight?
Hell no.
Okay.
Not unless he was going to fucking do a spinning heel kick and knock him the fuck out.
Right.
Like, that was
That's why
it.
They put that in the contract that like if he did any of that stuff, there was like a monster penalty
Yeah.
against his purse. So to make sure that he didn't accidentally shoot in on him or whatever.
Yeah,
So
but-
beyond that, once you make sure that he can't throw a kick or shoot in,
No way.
there was no way he was going to win. But we bought into it because Conor was a good heel until you realized.
Well, yeah, he's
He's
stepping
not.
out of his realm. If fucking Floyd got in the fucking cage with Conor in 20 years, you know what I mean? I think Conor would destroy Floyd.
Floyd's a bad example just because of the way he boxes, but I think there's other boxers that stand a better chance in the UFC than UFC fighters stand in boxing because you got to bang at least for a little bit.
Yeah.
So if you're light heavyweight and you have that power, you have a shot at ending the fight before it goes
Yeah,
to the
there's
ground.
straight up brawlers in the UFC.
Right, because you know for sure that the UFC, when you're training to fight a boxer, your whole game plan is let's get it to the ground. Let's
Yeah,
get it to
it
the ground.
minimizes everything
Right.
to one
So-
specific thing.
So if I can stop that from happening, if I can be Chuck Liddell and just be on my bike backwards, and you can't get me down as quick as you thought, I got a shot at knocking you out.
Yeah, 100%.
But when we're in the ring, it's not the same. I don't think there's really anybody in the UFC who could transition and be a threat to the top level boxers. I think in the middle you probably have some competitions, but when you get to the top level guys, they don't have a prayer.
yeah,
And I say that as a person who loves the fucking cherishes the UFC.
yeah, 100. I'm with you 100% on that. I
Here's
also
the
think
thing.
that the
Here's
people.
what I'm saying. Here's what I'm saying.
Go ahead.
Back to this, right? That we've watched what we think has been fights that were set up 6 or 7 times in a row, right? So this is a cash grab. What's to say that to fucking throw us off the track and kind of make it a move where it's still in his favor, that the next one isn't the fight that instead of fucking him fighting, I don't know, God knows who he's going to fucking fight next, fucking George Foreman, right? Instead of George Foreman throwing the fight, everybody's banking on Jake Paul winning his fucking 8th fight in a row because that's the way that it's been happening, right? What's to say that he doesn't fucking have his man place a fucking $500,000 bet on George Foreman, and now Jake Paul throws it. It
Because
takes away
he's
from
not-
the
'cause-
legitimacy and the fucking honesty of the whole situation, where it's like at some point he's gonna throw it.
Go ahead.
And when is that gonna be?
So you're not wrong that that's within the realm of possibility. But here's the thing with it. The thing with it is the minute that Jake Paul loses, this whole ride is over. The minute you show that
over.
he can't
Yep.
fight, it's over. So if
Yeah.
that is going to happen, it's going to be in a fight against a huge, huge, huge opponent. so that you get that one last cash grab, and then we can be done with this whole thing. So as long as he keeps fighting,
You got 10 more years of this shit.
right? As long as he keeps fighting retired wrestlers who don't really strike that well, this is going to keep going on. But the minute it's like he's going to get in the ring with the current light heavyweight or whatever weight he's in at, the current middleweight
Danny
champion,
Garcia.
right? As soon as he gets in with Danny Garcia, put all your money on fucking Danny Garcia,
Right.
Because Jake Paul, one way or the other, whether he throws it or gets legitimately knocked out, he's going to take that one last 100 million people tuned in, and he gets his points off the pay-per-view and disappear.
I don't think that these people aren't hitting him
Also-
either.
but
They're
also
hitting
here's
him.
the
I
thing,
think they're
'cause at
hitting him,
that
but I
point,
don't think
right,
they're finishing him
at
like they
that
could.
point-
Yeah, 100%.
At that point, 6 years from now, Jake Paul has fucking 30 bouts under his belt, climbing the chart each one. He gets to Danny Garcia. Maybe those 30 bouts, he's deserving to be there with Danny Garcia at
No.
that point.
No.
Yeah, but anyone who's a legitimate boxing fan knows that he doesn't deserve to be there because
No.
you can watch him box and you can see that he
Right
has some
now.
skill set. Yeah, right now.
Right now. But
Well, how
I'm
old
saying
is he?
by the time we get to
It's got to be
he's fucking
close to 30.
27, 28.
Yeah, so he's
Yeah.
not going to
He's
pick
20.
up a whole new skill set in boxing in the next 5 years. Well, he's 24. So maybe.
Maybe, yeah. I
Right.
mean, maybe it becomes a real thing. I don't know, but I just don't see, like, back to Payday's point, there's no way that it's like Hulk Hogan's not going to go wrestle some unnamed dude from Mexico and lose the fight. Like,
Right.
it just isn't
He's-
going to happen.
He's going to drop the title to Andre the Giant because it's going to be the most watched pay-per-view ever.
Right.
You know what we're talking about, right, Sean?
Did we
Yeah,
hit you
yeah,
good with Hulk Hogan
Yeah,
and Andre the
Tatanka.
Giant? Are you aware of those two names?
Yeah, no, Tatanka.
Yeah,
Tatanka,
Tatanka.
there.
Yeah, Hulk
Jimmy-
Hogan's not
Jimmy-
losing to Tatanka.
Oh,
That's
Jimmy
it.
Snuka.
That's a good one.
1, 2, 3 kid.
The 1, 2, 3 Kid, 6-Pac.
Yep, we're X-Pac, Sean Waldman, China's X, Deep Inside China, the first three.
That was an interesting movie.
Yeah, that
That
was
plot,
not
that
bad.
plot went
do?
somewhere I didn't expect
She
it
had a
to.
huge clip.
She did.
Fucking Ted DiBiase.
There you
$1
go.
Million Man.
How many more can you name?
Oh, I could go for a little bit.
Oh, okay.
Razor Ramon.
There it is.
Oh, there you go.
Knew you're gonna
Scott
give me
Hall.
Razor.
You know I had to get there, bro. I am the Razor Ramon of the podcast.
I try to tell you, man.
That's why you have those toothpicks over there
Yeah.
Yep.
and the activator.
Yep. I need some water. Hot out here in Georgia.
So can we
bro.
do our own show now, or you running out of minutes over there? What's happening?
No, I'm not saying much of anything. I'm just listening to you guys talk.
All right, fair
I'm
enough.
over here with an earphone in.
You're just
Go ahead, if
you're
you
just
want,
enjoying
bring
the
up
show live.
wrestling thing. Yeah, that's all.
I wanted to talk
Chime in when I
about
want to.
here. I want to do a list, Cove. You with me on this?
Yeah.
I like doing lists. You know how I feel. But last time I did a list, you didn't really. You just kind of reacted to my list, and you had your own number one. So it'd be cool if like you could maybe figure out a list here.
Well, I mean, it might depend on what the list is.
All right.
Also, I'm walking through the store right now, but go ahead.
All right, so maybe Payday could help me out then.
I'm gonna do what I can.
My list was it's just like top 5 dead musical artists. So just musical
Jimi
artists that
Hendrix.
affected you. All right, so is that your number one?
I didn't hear what he said. I'm
Jimi
sorry.
Hendrix comes
Jimmy,
in
okay.
probably in the.
Well, it'd be cool if we could do
probably
5
like,
back to
not
1.
number
But
one, maybe.
so you got
You wanna
Jimi
do
Hendrix
5 for
shooting
1?
around.
Yeah,
Yep.
he's up around 5, 4, maybe even 3.
Who else you got? You got other people in that realm?
Let's see, who else do we got in that? I would have to say, not necessarily maybe for me personally, but for
Well, do it for you
For the
personally.
culture?
But if you think it's for the culture, then I guess that's also for you personally.
the culture. I think you got to put Kurt Cobain in there, somewhere. You know, he's probably like 5. Like he's probably.
Well,
up
you just
towards
rattle
5.
off the names. I'll read them back to you, and then you give me your 5 from there.
All right, we got Kurt Cobain, Jimi Hendrix. I'm gonna say Jam Master Jay.
That's a good one.
That's solid.
I really like that one.
And
You're at 3 right now.
I mean, I could just like take the easy route and go Biggie and Pac, but I just don't. I don't really see that being. I think Jam Master Jay is more important than either of them were. What do you think?
I think that's a fair statement. I think the point in time in which Jam Master Jay comes around and what Run DMC does is ultimately more important than Biggie and Tupac and their beef. That will be the more interesting story, but I think Jam Master Jay is more important if we're just ranking it on relevance to the culture and the changing of the culture.
I differ, but I'll wait
Yeah.
till my list.
Okay. Trying to think like who else would be, who else do we got out there that's dead? Janis Joplin. I don't really think she makes the list.
She
Not for
definitely
me, at
makes a
least.
list for a lot of people. Yeah.
Yeah, understandably. I mean, to just personally. she
You got
doesn't
Ray
make my
Charles. You got
list. Okay.
Is Ray Charles? I think he's dead. He got to be
Oh,
dead. He was
how
like
about
80
Mar-
years
how
old
about
40
Marvin
years
Gaye?
ago. Who?
Marvin
Marvin
Gaye's a
Gaye.
good one.
Oh, that is a really good
He
one.
was on my list.
Yeah, we'll put Marvin Gaye probably. He's either 2 or 3.
Marvin Gaye's
And
good.
then who would be number 1?
How about MJ?
I mean, as a
MJ, I mean that's like kind of a no-brainer to say MJ's number 1, huh?
as an Italian, you can't sit there and not put Frank on the list, right?
Yeah. I could take Frank out.
Oh,
I could take Kurt out and put Frank in.
okay.
Or you could just move
Like
Frank up and then we could be done your list. How do you feel about that one?
No, because I got 5.
Well, yeah, with Frank and Kurt,
Frank?
you got 5. No, you got Marvin Gaye, Jam Master Jay, Kurt Cobain, and Jimi Hendrix. Unless you got
Marvin
Michael
Gaye.
Jackson.
Jimi Hendrix. Oh, yeah. Michael Jackson is, I think, without a doubt, number 1.
Okay. So Michael
don't think
Jackson's your
that-
number 1. Where do you got Marvin Gaye on that list?
How about, we got Hendrix at 5,
Okay.
right? And then Jam Master Jay is 4.
Okay.
Sinatra comes in at 3. Number 2 is a tie between
Biggie,
Marvin Gaye and Celia Cruz.
Oh, wow.
Cruz.
And
Huh.
then number 1 is MJ.
Okay. I like it. You got something, Payday?
Oh, yeah. I gotta have John Bonham on the list.
Okay.
I gotta have the drummer of all, the capo di tutti, the capo of drummers. Put everybody else's styles and skills into one bucket, and just still of all this time, he's still the greatest rock drummer. You know, maybe Neil Peart is second,
I was
but
thinking Neil Peart.
but he's like the greatest rock drummer there's ever been. I was gonna put Marvin on my list, so since Marvin's already been sniped, I'll put Freddie Mercury up there because he's
Are we doing it like that? Because I got no list at the end now. All right, hold on. Let me get rid of Frank Sinatra and Freddie Mercury.
You could have Marvin. You could have Marvin on your list just because I put him on. If you feel
Yeah,
like
I
he
think that
belongs
then
on
we
the
all
list, which
collect
he
on
does.
certain names. You know, there's certain names that become
right.
for all of us.
so Freddie's there
Sure, that
because
Marvin Gaye gets on the list.
first of all his voice is ridiculous, and he was a showman, and he was incredibly like well versed. Like he's got like an opera album.
Yeah.
He did like 1 or 2 opera
Well, just
albums.
Queen's music in general
Queen-
was like all over the
Yeah,
place.
but
dude.
that's why it was great.
Yeah.
It really was operatic in and of itself.
He like legitimately there was people that
Imagine what he did for Fruit Loops worldwide.
yeah.
The cereal.
know?
But also like there was someone that was like looking at his like they remastered all his like just vocals, like just his vocal, and he was doing like multi-tones, like Tibetan throat singing type shit
Yeah.
in his music, which is just like incredible when you think about it.
And when they go through and they find the masters of some of that stuff, and you hear the isolated vocals, it's crazy. Which brings me to another person on my list that he sang with, who everybody thinks is a tremendous singer, and I think he
Bowie.
is, but Bowie.
Yeah.
When Freddie Mercury and David Bowie are singing naked,
Yeah.
there's a very big discrepancy between the two of them. And otherwise, David Bowie's a pretty good singer. But I would put Bowie on the list. Bowie, again, across a bunch of genres, a bunch of his own writing, a bunch of his own everything, and not reliant on other people to put him together to be who he was.
So yeah, very an original. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like like in the midst of many originals was a outstanding
Completely,
original.
yeah, completely his own sore thumb. So is that's 3
That's
for me?
3, yeah.
I would put Elvis on there.
Okay.
I would put Elvis on there.
That's
For-
a fair statement.
First real big pop star kind of like really the blueprint for everything we know as boy band is pretty much Elvis. The movies, the
Makes sense.
music, everything, and he hit across the cultures, even though there's, now there's a lot of sus stuff about that, but he hit from gospel all the way through to rock. Like Elvis should be on there.
Yeah. If he came out today, we probably wouldn't celebrate him as well as, not to say what he's doing, but I'm saying, like, if what we know about artists
was a bigger thing.
It would be a little trickier.
I feel like pop was a bigger situation back then. Like now, pop doesn't get the respect that maybe it did at that point. Pop was really pop music.
That's also 100%.
He was also incredibly controversial and edgy in a time where, like,
when
they shot him from the waist up.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it's
and they
crazy.
had to.
Yeah. So we really opened up a lot of doors. So I respect the Elvis.
So I know who your number one is, so I'm not going to take him just so you can have him.
Thank you.
So I will take the other number one that should be up there, and it's John Lennon.
Nice.
Obi Trice?
I don't. He's not dead yet.
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I think Reef just took his spot and his flow and ran with it.
Lennon is, in my opinion, for the writing for the Beatles themselves. I think McCartney's the more important writer, but Lennon's the better writer. Lennon's stuff is deeper. Lennon's stuff is more interesting, more socially relevant. Even now, he's got a ton of music that's still socially relevant. And maybe he didn't fuck around and marry that Yoko Ono.
Yeah,
we could still have more great music. But he's got to be on the list.
Yeah.
So there's my 5.
I debated putting Lennon on my list, and there's just there's things that Lennon that maybe I just have heard about Lennon retrospectively that put him. And I'm a big Paul guy. Like, I'm just a huge Paul guy. Yeah. It goes Paul and George for me, and I know why Lennon's very important. I remember looking to something at the Hard Rock in New York, and I remember seeing on a napkin. I forget what song it was, but it was I want to say "Hold My Hand" or something super cool. It was them jotting down the words weren't the same and everything like that, scribbled out and shit like that. And I was just being wow, that's just an incredible thing to have. That's a very solid list. John Bonham getting a shout. It's cool.
Yeah, that was a good one.
So I'm going to start at 5. We didn't really give you a number, but I'm going to assume that Lennon's your number 1. You went from 5 to 1.
I'll go 5. Yeah, you can take that as 5 to 1. That's fine.
Okay. So I'll do 5 to 1.
When you're in that stratosphere, the distinguishing between the 1 and 5
what's
is
the
not
big
that
deal?
much.
It's really just your top 5. It doesn't have to be in order. You're right. Mine is, however, in an order because I come from a place of much order.
Sure.
So speaking of order, my number 5 is the old dirty bastard himself, Big Baby Jesus. I met him. I did a show when I was really young in Destin Beach, Florida. And I met him on an elevator, and he wouldn't. And then he died either the next year or the following year after that. I got on an elevator that Old Dirty Bastard was on, and he talked to me for a second about whatever. And so that was a cool thing. Old Dirty Bastard to me is just the epitome of a dude who just by his own drum.
You told me what we were going to do this list, and I wanted to go through in my head who belongs on the list and who you would possibly choose.
And that was one of the guys.
100% thought that if you didn't take him on that list, it would have been a mistake.
Yeah.
He is very much the epitome of your character.
A little bit.
He's a little goofy, a lot of fun, a big boisterous personality, and he can rap, but generally in the group, when he's in his own group, he's definitely not the best rapper.
No.
But the stage performance trumps almost everything else about the better rappers.
There's not been. I mean, maybe nowadays you can compare people to him that are a little bit shot out and a little bit extra or whatever the case may be, and goofy or whatever. I mean, you could even compare a Young Thug a little bit to Old Dirty Bastard because of what he's doing is just so out of pocket and a little bit ridiculous. But at the time, and still to this day, I've never seen someone so free in their music as Old Dirty Bastard. I mean, to the point where he didn't. I mean, RZA had to produce his whole shit to make it even cohesive a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, he was just doing his own thing.
Yeah.
So then I do have 2 of yours, or I have 1 of Sean's and 1 of yours. My number 4 was Frank Sinatra, just because I grew up listening to him. It was huge. My family was devastated when he died. It was nonstop in the house eating pasta.
My whole Italian family will swear to you he's the greatest singer ever.
Yeah.
And when I listen to him sing, I honestly don't think he's got that great of a voice, but he's got a presence and a swagger that is just fucking undeniable.
There's no touching what he did. And the cool shit about Frank, you see Frank doing a live performance, is he always it was just so extra in the little shit. You know what I mean? Just let's switch the word here, or let's drop the word after the horn. You know what I mean?
And that swagger was just a whole lot of and you're gonna fucking like it too.
Yeah.
And then we
yeah.
did, and it was like, yeah.
Well,
we do.
he was a real alpha, you
Yeah.
know, and he was singing some love songs, but it was like, don't fuck with Frank.
No.
Like Frank is a real G.
They
you
weren't
know?
tender.
Yeah, no, they weren't tender. They were real rough. They were with calloused hands. Was he caressing your body?
Certainly was.
Yeah, man. So Frank's definitely up there just because of the impact he had on my life in general. And I love Frank's music. I like Dean Martin's music too. I mean, those two were in my life, my whole life growing up. The thing about Italian people is even if you're just like 3% Italian, you're so Italian.
You consume. It's like being Jewish. Like
yeah,
it's just a
it's
drop of
all,
it.
You're all
It's
of it.
everything.
It's crazy how that works, really. Because like my mom is like, so my mom's half Italian, my dad's half Italian, and then I guess that makes me half Italian. So like, but it's like, it's so extra with the Italian.
There's
It's like a pride thing. Like there's not a lot of pride unless it's like black pride, Jewish pride.
Right.
It's like a real cultural thing.
there's a pride, and then there's like other cultures just don't lean on their culture the way that Italians do.
Yeah, why do you think that is?
I don't know, and I don't know that it's good or bad. I'm very happy that it happens personally, but like I don't know, for example, like the Irish Christmas traditions. I have no fucking idea what they are.
Yeah.
But I know the 7 fishes, and everybody fucking around me, whether they're Italian or not, knows the 7 fishes.
Correct.
Like all of those Italian cultural things. I know how to make pasta.
Right.
But I don't know how to make, some kind of schnitzel.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. So for whatever reason, when they brought their culture over,
They were so loud about it.
They were, that's
Yeah,
probably, that's mostly
exactly
what it is.
what
They
it
were
is.
loud about
They
it.
were not letting you not know. They needed
that
to
we
let
were
you know.
Italian.
Yeah, that's
Everybody
so crazy.
walked around in red and green and white.
They're like a divisive being.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
people are either like for it and love it. Because like
Right.
my whole family's from New York and Brooklyn and all that stuff. So that Brooklyn Italian thing is like
Super
it's just
boisterous.
oh my god, it's on their face. My mom goes to New York for a week to visit my family and comes back like, yeah, you had the water. Like I'm like, who the fuck are you? So it's like it's
Brought
definitely
the whole
like a
accent down.
yeah, it's crazy, dude. Really crazy. In a week, she got it done. Then 3, I got Freddie Mercury just because Queen changed my life. Legitimately, like Queen is just like a band that should really be celebrated across the board for just being that genre non-defying or genre non-conforming defying musical group that literally had hard rock, Motown, ballads, like
They were really putting together operas.
and their
Where-
music,
where
Brian May, like
Yeah.
everything
Yeah.
involved in Queen was just on a whole other level. And like I didn't see the movie or anything like that, but I remember seeing
Movie's okay.
his live performances. That's what I heard. That's why I didn't want to watch it and
Yeah.
be let down. Other people told me, "Oh, it's really great," but I heard a lot of,
You got to keep it in your mind. This isn't a documentary. This isn't a
Right.
documentary. Don't keep looking for the things that you know you're supposed to expect. It's not a documentary. It's just a movie, and it gets close to the point, but it kind of dances
Yeah,
around.
see,
some
I don't
shit
think
too.
I'm going to enjoy that.
Yeah,
I've been
I
sober
understand.
for 30 days now, right? So
Yeah.
I haven't been smoking weed. I haven't been drinking. Without smoking weed, I had no time for bullshit. Like, there's
Right.
no
Oh, yeah.
bullshit
Okay.
for me that I'm going to enjoy. Like you guys were talking about Trailer Park Boys the other day and
Oh,
like
Trailer Park
Letterkenny and all
Boys
that.
is so great.
Oh, my God. Trailer Park Boys is one of the greatest shows
Yeah.
that's ever existed. And you don't have to be high or drunk to enjoy it.
But they definitely
But
are.
it helps, though. It really does help because when J-Rock comes with it, no, I'm saying. It'll change your whole entire life if you got a couple blunts in you. Then number 2, I tied it because I'm a cheater, and I put Biggie and Pac. Biggie for the musical presence that he did with Ready to Die and Life After Death, but more so Ready to Die was just an album that was just like, holy shit, and in his presence and everything that he did as far as the simplification of hip-hop and what he said in a story with limited vocabulary, you know what I mean, without shitting on him.
So he always gets regarded, like when you're talking top 5 MCs, his name comes up, and that always bothered me. Not that Life After or Ready to Die isn't one of the greatest albums ever, but just like there's something about him that never felt like he's an incredible MC.
Is there something? Cove just texted me that we lost sound. Is that a possibility?
I don't think so. Maybe he lost sound.
He just keeps texting me. Oh, he said never mind.
No, we got sound.
Yeah, we're good.
But like there. So I couldn't put my finger on it for forever. Like I don't know why people regard him so well beyond the fact that the album is so incredible.
Right.
And then somebody said it in a forum or whatever, and it hit. Everything he does is completely effortless.
Yeah.
And that's why he's great. Because no matter what kind of song he's doing, no matter what kind of delivery he's doing, he just sounds like he's in a recliner, just flowing like it's his job.
Yeah.
And it's also effortless. And when somebody pinned that that adjective on it. I was like, that's what makes him so great, is that like none of this seems forced. It doesn't even feel like he sat down and wrote it and rewrote it, and he opened his mouth and these are the words that came out, and they were fucking
just a real natural,
amazing.
And while we're talking about that, because as we were saying that, I could use exactly what you said to say Sean Price,
right?
Because Sean Price did the exact same thing as Biggie did. Now earlier, the earlier boot camp shit and the early, that's a little bit more like he's trying, right?
It's a little more rhyming.
That later like post monkey bars type shit and all that stuff, like that was like real effortless. Like he wasn't trying. It was almost about like, it was like when he went like that was when he killed it. You know what I mean? Listen, like that was it.
Like conversation on the corner. And
yeah,
dude.
And
just a beat behind.
But he's a guy. He's definitely a guy that is right on this list, right maybe below or whatever. An honorable mention. Sean Price definitely is one of them cats. There's just like, he did the same thing that Biggie did, just maybe not to the level that Biggie did. Biggie also came up in the 90s, and it was a huge deal.
Well, I mean, he came up in the 90s, he didn't do it with Puff. He did it with the Beat Miners, who are incredible, but there was never going to be that crossover amount of success that Biggie also has.
Also, Sean Price didn't have any like. Yeah, you're right, but I'm saying what you said to say something very similar for no reason. He just didn't. He didn't.
You could just say I agree.
I agree. Yeah, no, but I have to say my own piece. There was no big monstrous hits that came from Sean Price's catalog. No. You know what I mean? I mean, there's big hits, but not. It's more so Helter Skelter stuff or boot camp stuff or whatever that he was a part of. Onion Head was kind of big, but it was like a street hit.
Yeah, it was all underground.
You think about Juicy. There's so many songs that Biggie did that were just like across the board, huge,
crossed over everywhere.
But I did time with Pac. Back to, I think you touched on it earlier, but or Cove did, about whatever the case was with Pac. I think that Pac was like never loved his music. Like I loved Me Against the World. That was the album that resonated with me the most. I think at the age that I was at when I was listening to that was just like, and obviously I listened to it a little bit after he even died. I'm pretty sure. But that was an album that just like really, but just his effect. I would have just loved to see his effect longer and music. Like not so much the character that was Tupac, but Tupac Shakur, like, and just who he really was, because I don't think that a lot of people see him in that Detroit Red Wings jersey with his headband on, spitting at the camera and Thug Life motherfucker, 2 fingers up and all that shit. But if you see anything, and now there's so much shit on him where you can see him being him, and like or watching videos or reading books or whatever the case may be, where you get to really see who this guy was and what he really did. And even down to Brenda's Got a Baby and some of the Dear Mama and some of the music that he did that was like of great cultural significance at the time.
Yeah. So that I hate to admit it because this is probably a bad form to admit, but that's always been my problem with Tupac. Why in my mind there's a block. I can't get him into the top 10 because I've always felt like, and I got nothing to back it up with, but I've always felt like, so Tupacalypse Now comes out. After he comes up with Digital Underground, he puts out Tupacalypse Now, which is Brenda's Got a Baby and a bunch of other like semi-socially conscious type of music and very intelligently written and things like that. And then he plays Bishop and Juice. And then everything after that was Bishop. Yeah. And I always felt like, okay, so he's adopted this character, and that's fine. But if you're going to make your catalog a character, I can't also credit you with being, oh, you're a street justice guy. You're you know what I mean? Like you're playing a role, and you're doing it very well, but it's just a role. I would have rather. He would have never been as big, but I would have rather he stayed.
It would have been nice to have way more, and there was, because there was a ton of music that came in later, and even Changes came in after that, and there was, and then Changes is a huge song. I mean, and that was socially conscious.
Yeah, 100%.
And he was always that there. Dude. Yeah,
right. It was there, but it was always felt like when he got all the acclaim for being Bishop, he was like, this is how people are going to love
me. Oh, it's a fantastic movie.
Oh,
it's one of my all-time favorite
great movie,
movies.
And he was the one who everybody said he was the one who, if they're going to give it an Oscar, it goes to him.
Right.
And then after that, he was like, well, I'm going to keep playing that role because people love that role.
Yeah.
And then that was it.
It's funny because I've never ever heard it equated to Pac became Bishop and Juice, which is so the truth. I mean, it really is the truth, because you're right. Everything prior to that was more so of a socially conscious dude who he really was, and then Wow, man.
Yeah.
I never even thought of it that
And
way.
then you see, like you said, in the writings and in the other stuff, like
and
he
then
really
the stuff
was
that he did
other guy.
outside of the music. I mean, he did
Yeah,
do
he
those
absolutely
big
did.
social things
Yes.
and big, like, bringing the community up things and giving back to
Yeah.
the community stuff. But it was like he's on Death Row Records with
Right.
Suge Knight and
Right.
fucking Dre and,
Right.
and Snoop. And honestly, now you grow up, and Suge's the only really hood motherfucker at the group.
Pretty
you know,
much.
you see Dre. Dre's like a regular-ass dude.
Dre's always been a plain guy.
And he started out, dressing like he was doing disco funk records.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And then he moved to being a thug who kept telling you, don't do drugs, don't do drugs, don't do drugs.
Right.
And then fucking once he decided drugs were cool, the whole career just shot through the roof.
Yeah. Yeah, because he played a character and people wanted to hear that anyway. That's another thing. Like, hip-hop just culturally appropriates a lot of different shit.
Yeah, it will acquiesce to whatever
and
is
then
popular.
it gives right back
Yeah.
to you. And
Yep.
I think that's in general. I think that there's a lot of...
And there's nothing wrong with that, by the way. I'm just saying, like, in specific instances, like somebody like Tupac, who's heralded for being this certain justice warrior kind of guy,
Right.
and it's just an act at some level. That's where it feels just illegitimate.
Yeah, a little fraudulent.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it is. It's definitely a little fraudulent.
Yeah.
Just like LL was a little fraudulent, There's a lot of that's a little fraudulent.
Well, LL's a little fraudulent, but also LL mostly was playing a hoodlum who liked girls. And he still seems like a hoodlum who likes girls.
Yeah, but he came up a little bit like he played a character like he was in the hood, and he wasn't necessarily in the hood.
Yeah,
you
that's
know?
fair.
But regardless, yeah, I get where you're coming from. And then my number one, as you well know, and I appreciate you giving to me, is
Right.
Prince, who just is the epitome of everything that is music. He is exactly what musicians, I believe, want to be. They want to be a dude who's in control. They want to do stuff that's outside the box. They want to do albums with no bass on it. They want to just be a creator. And I think that no one is on the level of Prince in that way. I was watching the first music I ever made was this guy, Chuck D'Angelo, who introduced me to Prince on this level. When I was 13, I want to say I started making music with Chuck when I was 13, 14 years old, and we were making it on a Tascam with live drums on the keyboard. He made music. I actually had my first music that ever was published was on As the World Turns, which is a real throwback to show you how long I've been making music. That show retired quickly
even on
after
the air?
that.
Yeah.
No. But it was a disco song that I was on or whatever. So Chuck showed me many live performances of Prince. Like, it was just like if I was upstairs and we weren't in the studio, it was a Prince concert on for the most part. It was either Prince or Chris Rock. We were either watching Chris Rock or we were watching Prince.
Right.
And he was like my guy that I was able to go watch Chris Rock with, because my mom wasn't going to watch Chris Rock with me with Smack Her With a Dick, Smack Her With a Dick. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
At that
sure.
time, it wasn't
Yeah.
happening. So Chuck would do that. But I remember seeing Prince, just be all over the stage, just commanding everything, like his whole presence. And then he's like this little effeminate man who really carried himself very similar to how Frank carried himself,
Yeah.
where it's like, don't fuck with this
Right.
dude. Like, this dude don't play.
Well, that's the whole the music awards show that he did. So now I forget what it was for, but it was like
The one where with everyone gets on stage at the end
Yep.
and Prince does his own thing, or did you ever see him
Yeah,
on the
no,
We
that-
Are the World thing
no,
too?
not the We Are the World one, that one.
Yeah.
So
With
so-
James Brown, Michael Jackson,
No,
those
no,
ones.
No, the one with there's like a bunch of other great guitarists on stage with him. I'm trying to think of what it's for and trying to type and talk.
Was it George Harrison's thing?
It might have been. Was it George Harrison's?
It was like
50th
relatively
birthday or
recent,
something?
like 2004
Yeah.
or something like that.
So they had Rolling Stone had just come out with like their 50 greatest guitarists issue.
Oh yeah.
And he was either very low on the list or didn't make the list at all. And he was fucking furious.
Yeah, as he
So
should be.
He gets up on stage in front of all these other really well-known legendary guitarists, and he gets the solo. And he fucking burnt the house down.
Yeah.
Burnt the house down, threw his guitar up in the air, and walked the fuck off stage. And everybody else standing there playing guitar, when they got them afterwards, they're like, I've never seen anyone play guitar like that.
Yeah, yeah,
It
yeah.
was unfucking real.
Yeah.
So
he
had-
is unfucking
yeah,
real. He
absolutely
is the epitome of unfucking real.
Just as a pure coincidence, I didn't know what the list was going to be till we got here. I was sitting with my son at dinner, and just tangentially we're talking music, and I said, very important that you understand, don't let anyone ever tell you that Michael Jackson is better than Prince.
Yeah.
And he looks at me and he's like, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about, Dad. I'm 10. And I'm like, no, I get it. But here's why. You make a list of 20 of Michael Jackson's greatest songs, and it's going to be impossible to not have songs written by Quincy Jones on that list.
100%.
Written and produced by Quincy Jones.
Right.
You make a list of 20 of Prince's greatest songs, not only did he write them and arrange them all, it's possible that he wrote them for somebody else to sing, and they still came off amazing.
Yeah.
And that's the distinguishing factor. Michael Jackson's great.
And
He's
also
an
was
amazing
recording
entertainer.
the process.
He was doing
doing absolutely everything.
and
That's
it was
what I'm saying.
meticulous.
As far as what musicians should desire to be like,
Absolutely.
as far as musicianship. I'm a rapper, right? I don't even make beats well, so I'm not claiming anything, right? But when I see a musician, if a musician that I fuck with, 9 times out of 10, Prince is in their top tier of musicians. Because if they're any good at anything, they aspire to be something like that man who not only had this presence and all that stuff, but he deserved that presence.
Absolutely.
He was
earned it.
allowed
He
to carry
100%
himself that
earned
way.
it. Yeah.
You can't just be that guy, dressed like that, makeup like that, all over the stage like that. He would be on stage with great, like Sheila E. would, and he would be commanding
Just
her,
killing it.
like, you bring me, I want more. Like you see that with Michael too, a little bit, to a degree, where Michael would like command certain things, like that "This Is It" thing, where like the kids like fucking up the dance moves. That's another thing too. Prince took a lot of shots at Michael too, because Michael was getting all these accolades, and he's like, "Oh, you're not going to see me up on stage lip syncing and dancing." He's like, "I feel what I do."
Because he wasn't a performer. He was a musician.
He was a musician.
And Michael Jackson was a performer. And again, Michael Jackson is huge and deserves to be huge. Thriller
100%.
is one of the greatest albums ever, and
It's
Off
great.
the Wall is right behind it.
And Quincy Jones is a credit to all that.
But exactly. But if we're just talking who's the better musician, it's not there's not a discussion.
I don't even know if there's a better musician.
There might not
honestly.
be.
From
There
like top to bottom, I think about like
if you're taking any one particular talent out of it, probably you could find a better guitarist and then a better vocalist.
Yeah, but all in one.
But as a one package, no.
And then like the dude, like the fucking like songs like Erotic City and shit like that, where he was like they like created these other characters for his other voices that he did. Like he was just like so
Yeah, he
ahead of
was-
his time. And like think about now, like Prince was very eccentric and all that stuff, and he was very very monotone, really delivered it. But he was like that kind of dude where like pro wrestling for a long time was like you got on stage and you were like, I'm gonna tell you something, brother. And then at a certain point, it became everything's pro wrestling with me, by the way.
No, that's fine. That's perfectly fine.
But there was a certain point in wrestling, and now we're still in it, where you bring it down and you just kind of talk, and people are just having conversations in the ring.
The results of the ECW era.
Yeah, a little bit. But you also had the Dudleys in there that were saying, "Go fuck yourself."
Yeah, but the guys who get over at that point in time, that's the pivot to we're gonna stop having the Doink the Clowns for the most part, and we're gonna have
100%.
something. It's wrestling, but it feels a little more. It went from cartoon villains to movie villains.
Yeah. So, but Prince was that kind of way where it's like he was very deliberate in what he said, and he was very drawn down, and he was very focused about what he was saying, because it was very important for him to represent himself 100% truly, even if his ideals changed over time, which they didn't really. As far as I can tell, Prince was pretty consistent in his views. He didn't really, to me, speak out about anything except for his religion until later in his life, where I feel like maybe he sensed something. But he was just like, he drew everybody into him, and he's this little guy has like this great potential and this great creative, like his arsenal of music is out of this world. Where I know, like they just released a Prince album, and I know diehard Prince fans that don't listen to it because he wished to not listen to it.
He said, This is not for release.
I didn't listen to it. I want to listen to it, but so many people told me to
Don't do it.
Okay, yeah, so I
Respect
won't.
his wishes.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, and that's the kind of level that he has, right?
And to bring it all the way back to something else, he was a little eccentric. He was a little bit of a fucking wackadoo. He did come out and rename himself a symbol for contractual reasons, and also because he was a little bit of a fucking weirdo.
Yeah.
But he kept it in pocket for the most part.
Right.
And every time Prince came out with a new album, everybody fucking lined up for it.
Yeah.
You don't always have to be a fucking lunatic out in front of everybody.
Well, that's what I'm saying. He draws it in.
Right.
It's not big and boisterous and loud and obnoxious.
Right.
It's right. He's this little guy in Minnesota, dude, and you can come find him because he opens up his doors every year for people to come into his fucking estate and watch him rip it, bro.
Yep.
And like and his Super Bowl performance to this day is my favorite Super Bowl performance of all time, with the rain and everything. And they thought that he was going to get electrocuted, and the fucking thing comes up and it's purple rain, and he's playing his guitar like an extension of his cock. And I just love that so much. Nobody else, and guitars are very much like a phallic thing, right?
Yeah.
Especially with like 80s and all that stuff. There was a very, and I would even go with Hendrix and even Santana and all these guys. Like it's a sensual instrument to an extent. I mean, I guess music in general is sensual, right? There's a sexual thing involved there. But Prince was just so fucking sexual with his shit that it's his dick. Like it's just his dick.
Whichever album, I'm trying to think, it might have been Love Sexy, but whichever album came out in '87, because I was in like 7th or 8th grade, he was naked on the front cover with his hand over his dick. And that got confiscated from every single fucking one of us in school. Like, you guys can't even have this. So it was always the sexuality and the sensuality has always been a huge part of it. But it's never, besides the fact that he's naked on the front cover, it's never really overt. Like
No,
it wasn't
agree.
super duper overt with him. He was real good with the fucking metaphors and things like that.
Yeah, always. Which is something we lost in music in general now because it went
we're
from
very blunt.
Yeah. It's just like I'm gonna eat your pussy.
Yeah, well,
and
okay,
that's
there you
all.
go. So how about that?
Yeah. I miss that in music too. I've been trying when I write, which is not so frequently anymore. But when I do write, I try to avoid language in general.
Just to
I
be
think
more
just because
clever.
I'm a dad, right?
Yeah.
But and I've always been brash, so I'll always continue to be that way naturally as human. But I like the idea of working around things to say other things. That's like a better writer does that. They don't just say I'm gonna eat your pussy. That's okay, dude. You know what I mean? Like,
I get it, but you know,
yeah.
do something that makes me have to rewind and then figure out what you said and go, oh shit.
Right,
And
like
really, that
potholes
was-
in my lawn. You know what I mean? Like things should be more like potholes in my lawn, De La Soul. Things should be more like, oh, he's talking about you're biting his style. You know what I mean? Like it should be more like that. It should be more, and I think that goes down to like dumbing shit down in general. Like people just get dumbed down.
It's dumbing shit down, and then also part of it again is the idea that anybody can put out music. Like there's no, for releasing music, there is no bar that you have to cross anymore. And then what people decide they like, you have no control over that one way or the other.
True.
So, you spray the shotgun and something's gonna hit, and the wrong thing hits, but it works.
Yeah, I think it changed when you could start just doing this in your house. You know what I mean? Like once you could be able to do that. Like when I started making music, granted, it wasn't too long after that people had a laptop and an interface and a microphone. But when I first started, I didn't know any wiser. Like I said, I was working with Chuck. We're sitting in his basement. We're literally programming drums for 5 minutes so we could do the fade out whenever the song's gonna end. You know what I mean?
I had an old ass computer with a music playing program that I basically tore apart so that I can make it play the music I wanted it to. It was more like a player piano where like you fed the program in and it played it.
Yeah.
And I kind of just fucked with it until I figured out how I could get my own stuff to play.
Yeah.
And then a karaoke machine. That was what we recorded on.
Yeah. I did a ton of that too. Just a karaoke machine into the record button with another beat playing in the background was how I started doing shit. And then when the computer came out, we had this little shitty little white, it was like the size of a pen, and it was a little microphone, and I would play the music out of the monitors, and I would release mixtapes, and I'd hand them out to school, you know what I mean? And be like, this is my shit. Go check out my shit. I'd put on like a fucking, like the new Timbaland or whatever was out, whatever, on there with it or whatever. Yeah.
Here's that new single you guys are looking for, and maybe 45 minutes of me
and
afterwards.
45 minutes of me sounded like I'm in my kitchen because I am.
Yeah.
It's crazy because I look back. I have all that shit, and I'm a narcissist, like we all are to a degree. But I'm a little bit more. I look back
Something
at
a
that shit.
narcissist would say.
I look back at that shit, and I remember thinking like how great you were. You know what I mean? Like I look back and think like, oh, I was the best. Like when I was 13, there was no other 13-year-old like me. Now I'm 30, and I look at 13-year-olds that are shitting on me now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I've done such growth and such. You know what I mean?
Well,
But-
you're at the tail end of it, but you came up and it wasn't a fully formed culture yet.
Yeah.
The kids now, like they're born into it, so it's more. First of all, it's just more natural in general for someone to decide I'm gonna rap.
Yeah.
Like again, like when I was going to school, if the sophomores in high school said they were gonna rap, they would get a real fucking weird look, and then the expectation would just be that they would just do Rapper's Delight. And that would be like, we would move on from there, and that's all we're really going to do.
Right.
So, there was all that uncomfortability that stops people from doing it, but now like it's ubiquitous.
Yeah.
Rap is everywhere.
You're
So
7 years
so
old
if
and record a
I'm
whole album.
writing rhymes, what are you doing? Oh, I heard some rhymes on the radio, I'm going to write rhymes. Okay, that's cool. And that's that. So like they can be more comfortable, which means that they can be better.
Yeah. I came up in the boom of it. You know what I mean? Like by the time I was 17 years old, I knew 7 producers in my neighborhood in the suburbs of Pennsylvania. You know what I mean? And that's saying something because if I would have grown up in the city, it would have even been
You would have been
more
swamped.
than that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I thought I was, I thought it was the beat, and I was great. You know what I mean? I just wasn't as great as I thought I was.
Yeah.
You look back and you realize, like, holy shit, like you were really walking around like you had a 9-foot dick, and you were trash. You were
wasn't
trash.
even sticking out.
No, you weren't. And people were riding your dick, like
Yeah.
because you were doing something. People were feeding your ego and making you feel bigger
Just
than you were.
impressed that you were actually putting something
Yeah, like,
together.
oh my God, you did a thing in your kitchen with
Good for you.
a cheap microphone.
Yep.
Yeah, man, we've come a long way, and then we've reverted back to a short way or something like that. Not exactly sure. What are some of your pet peeves?
Humans are my pet peeve.
Like a specific one.
The idea that a large percentage, I won't put a number on it, a large percentage of the people that I watch, and that's what I do. I watch. I'm king introvert. I sit
Yeah.
in the corner and I just watch. But the idea that the majority of the people I watch seem to behave as if they're the most important person wherever they are is fucking insane to me.
Yeah.
Like, you average ass motherfucker walking around like you're the fucking big deal here. You won't put your cart back. You won't hold the door for somebody else.
Yeah.
You won't do nothing because you're the fucking king of the earth. It astounds me that the people who hold that attitude.
Yeah.
And that drives me fucking insane.
I'm learning that. I'm getting a little bit better at that. Here's the thing that I see in that. It's people that walk in front of my fucking car.
Okay.
These people that walk real slow
Yep.
in front of your car
Yep.
are the worst
Yep,
people.
I'm not asking you to sprint, but walk like you walked to get to the corner in the first place, because you sure as shit didn't walk from your house at that fucking pace,
No.
staring in my window the whole time.
You'd still be in your fucking driveway.
Just to let me know who's in charge.
Yeah, it's such a weird thing. I'm in a vehicle that could easily decapitate you.
I hit an old lady once because of that. I just rolled her right into the fucking...
Good job. That is a good move. I don't even want to know if that's a joke because I want that to be real.
I had manual. I stopped the car. She wasn't old, but she was old enough, right? I stopped the car like I'm supposed to. She's walking, and she just decided to like slow up and start chatting with her friend.
Oh my
like
God.
in the middle of the fucking
I'll
street.
kill you.
So all I did was I just fucking put the car in neutral, and I eased off the brake a little bit, started inching it forward, and she just kept talking to her friend, and then boop, got her right in the leg, and she was like, "What was that?" And I was like, "I don't fucking know. Move." And she moved. That was it. I had no fucking time. Look, if she was old and slow because she had a cane, whatever, you got to take your time. I totally get it.
Yeah.
She fucking stopped in front of my red car. Like, you couldn't have missed.
Right.
Like, there was a car there with
Yeah.
a loud ass fucking radio and red paint.
Yeah.
And you just started turning and talking to your friend. And not even like, what's that? Your house is on fire? Okay. No, it was like, oh, yeah, we'll probably be around next Tuesday.
Yeah.
You know, if
oh,
you could
yeah,
be
I
here
talked to
10:30.
Gladys last
Yeah,
week.
exactly.
Oh, Gladys is good. No, her son's still
Right
in
in the
jail.
fucking cab with my Jersey
Oh, it's
license
so
plate
good
in
for
the
you,
front.
man. That's so good for you. There was a girl that walked twice. It happened. I was working in the same job down like Broad and Lehigh down
Okay.
a little bit, and I was coming up Broad and I was turning on to Girard. So this happened 2 days in a row around the same exact time. This woman walks in front of me with her fucking furry flip-flops on, her little dog, and she's on her phone. And she walks right in the middle of Girard twice. This happened one day where I almost lost my shit. The second day, I laughed because I couldn't fucking believe
Right.
that it happened again. Like, I was so caught up with this woman who, like, for no regard for the entire world around her that has to exist, for her to just be not on, like, you're on your fucking phone in the street, dude. This is natural selection. You should be dead.
The on the phone thing is bonkers to me in almost every situation. Like, that you would want to sit on a train and talk fucking out loud in front of strangers.
Oh my God.
Or that you would want to be in the grocery store out fucking loud talking on the phone. Like, it all fucking baffles me. And the other thing, like, speaking of the grocery store, I feel like when you're in the grocery store, you should be walking the aisles and walking your cart like as if you're driving a car.
Correct.
Right? No sudden stops, no swerving to the other side for no particular reason, no just stopping your shit in the middle and turning it
happens way
sideways.
too often.
None of that shit. Like,
Yeah.
just fucking respect the rest of the humans around you.
Yeah.
Think to yourself, like, if someone did this to me, it would fucking aggravate me. So I'm
Yeah.
not going to do it because
Yeah.
I don't want people to do it to me.
Self-awareness
And it
is
would
at all-time low.
Oh, so low. It's in
Yeah.
the fucking dirt.
100%.
In the
I
dirt.
feel the same way about it. I also think that people, so it makes the same instance, right? It makes me worse at it. Just like as a driver, If I'm trying to just be a regular driver, I'm trying to get where I'm going. I drive a little fast, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I'm never like riding someone's ass. I'm never cutting somebody off on purpose. You know, I'm not saying that I'm a perfect driver and I don't make mistakes.
There's a difference between speeding and being an aggressive driver. They're two different things.
Yeah, so I like to go fast. If I got a clear lane, even
Hit
if
the
it's
gas.
on the right side a little bit, I'll take it. You know what I mean?
gas.
But I'm aware of what's going on over there, and I know that I'm in a place that I'm a hazardous situation driving fast in a right lane.
But I'm not making somebody else swerve.
I'm
I'm
not
not making them
trying to
jam
kill
the brakes.
anybody.
I'm not scaring them. Fine.
It's the
Good.
same
Then
thing
drive
that
fast.
happens in the grocery store,
Yeah.
where it's like, okay, what the fuck are you doing with your cart like this?
Right.
You're the fuck
Sideways.
over there
Right.
on the other side of the freezer.
Yep.
Like, what are you doing?
Just not a fucking care in the
It's
world.
my daughter. My daughter's 7 years old with the cart. I understand if she
She's
makes
7.
a mistake. She's
Right.
7.
You can coach her into
But
it.
I have to, and it's like the way I parent is that of a person that talks to a grown man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I think that so my buddy Brad, who I'd like to get in on the pod one week, because he's just a fucking really brilliant dude and he knows a lot about a lot of different things. And
Well,
he's actually hit me up and talked about it.
Now that
before.
we don't have Sean anymore, we got room for him.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
definitely we got 2 mics, dude, and
That's
we
right.
got that the last stop if we have
actually
to.
have 2 more over here.
There we go. We're
Yeah.
good to go. Changing the locks. But I lived with him for like a year, but I was friends with him for many years. And the way he was with his kids, and both of his kids are amazing. But he never held his tongue. He never changed the way
No,
he talked.
that's me.
He cursed a little
Yep.
bit. It wasn't a big deal. He like my mom is so big. Like if I say, fuck, she looks at me like, you just said that. Dolly is right there. She's right there.
I don't think I cursed in front of my mom till I was about 35.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
dropped an F-bomb, like talking about the Eagles or something, like a for the sake of cursing, a perfectly appropriate point in time to drop an F-bomb, not
Yeah.
like "fuck you, mom" or anything like
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
these fucking Eagles, right?
Yeah.
And even at that point, at 35 years old, I felt like, oh shit, she's gonna hit me because
Yeah,
I just
yeah.
cursed at my mom.
I was like
but
that-
meanwhile, I talked to my son, very fucking reckless. One of the most impressive things to me about him is that he's never said those words and never gotten in trouble for saying those words,
Yeah.
no matter how much I fucking say them.
Well,
in
he
front of him.
gets it.
Yeah,
I
he
think
does. I think he does.
It's the same reason that I got in trouble for saying it because I wasn't allowed to say it,
Right.
or it was like a frowned upon thing.
right.
Or my mom would say something and she'd be like, you know, or like,
Yeah.
what? Not like my mom didn't curse because she definitely did. My mom broke a mirror over my head when I was like 7 years old. So she was a
Yeah.
crazy lady.
She's
Still,
Italian.
still to this day. And proud of it.
Yeah.
But so. There's like, I love the way that I saw Brad, my cousin Joe, same way with his kid. He was like boxing him when he was like 3 years old. That's rough with him, you know, like, and just showing him the ropes. Because my dad was very much like, me and my dad maybe don't see eye to eye. I haven't talked to him in years, but he was a go fucking figure it out kind of guy. Like, okay, like my mom was like, I was 10 years old and she was watching me cross the street. You know what I mean? Like very protective. I'm also an only child, so there was a part of that was involved in that too. My dad has 2 other kids that he loves way more than me, and this is part of the reason. But
They're better rappers.
they're better rappers than I am. What are you gonna say? No, they have a real job. Why? Well, you can come and see me when you get a good job. You know,
when you start making enough money to take me out to dinner.
Oh my
swing
God,
by.
this motherfucker! 2 years ago, whatever, like right around the precipice of me not dealing with this dude anymore was because he just made me feel like shit about myself
Right.
for my whole life, right? So I sent him what's that? Omaha Steaks.
Okay.
His birthday is right next to Father's Day. It's like
Okay.
2 days before. So I sent it as a group present.
Perfect time.
It was like $50. It
Yep.
wasn't anything crazy.
No.
I'll throw that on a fight on Saturday, right?
Yeah.
So it wasn't like a big deal.
Hmm?
I sent him it. He called me immediately, not to thank me, but to tell me
These
you
are
need
the
to
cuts
be,
you got me.
Yeah, no, nothing like that. Just like when you can afford to do what you can afford to do, then you can send me some steaks.
Right.
And it's like, dude, it's fucking $50. You're my dad.
It's like it's that thing where like somewhere he actually thinks he's being courteous to you.
Yeah.
And it's like, listen, I appreciate that you spent your money
Huge
on me, but
dickhead.
you didn't have to do that. But the presentation is fucking terrible.
It's so bad.
Like, maybe you
dude.
pay your rent and then you buy me a steak. Like, go fuck yourself.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They're like, when you get your shit together, like Billy, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's just like, oh, what the fuck ever, dude. How about this? How about Billy doesn't know shit about what I know shit about?
Right.
How about Billy called Roto-Rooter to fucking unclog his toilet at 3 o'clock in the morning? Yeah, he could afford to pay for it. Good for him.
Yeah, great.
But I got the
But I know
wherewithal to
how to
fucking
do it.
do it,
Yeah.
you motherfucker.
I don't
And
even have a stranger in my house at 3 traipsing through my shit. shit.
And here's the thing about money. It doesn't fucking mean anything, and it doesn't really change anything. If anything, it enables you to be less of a fucking real human being, you know?
Yep.
These people, like, my dad is very much obsessed with that whole thing. It's like he would go to church. We'd all go to church on Sunday with him and everything. He didn't believe that shit. He just did it to keep up his appearance, you know what I mean? And then that's what I learned from it. Was like, oh, you don't do that. Also, I wasn't baptized. So everyone would get up and do the
geez.
thing. And then he would look at me like,
You can't even go
you
get
can't
you
do-
can't go get the communion.
you can't even do the thing.
No,
Even when
you're not gonna get the cracker.
my grandfather died, and there was like, you know what I mean? You're gonna go up, and I'm the only one sitting there.
You got to do the thing. You got to do the thing. I've had girlfriends who I have had to bring to church for like, you know, escalated reasons, like not just like Sunday church.
Right.
And they walk up, and then when it's time for them to get the wafer, they just kind of, you know, priest gives them a little blessing and they move along, and nobody asks any questions.
Yeah, nobody
because they
let
saw
me
her
do
in
that.
the line.
They didn't want me to do that. I wasn't allowed. I didn't earn my right to do that. But anyway, the shit with the Omaha Steaks just really pissed me off. And then a year later, I didn't send him a card or nothing. Like I usually just send him a card. That was usually my go-to to do with Dad. You
Send
know
them
what
the
I mean?
receipt from last year's Omaha.
That's what I
Steaks.
should have did, the fucking prick. No, he brought me into this world. But whatever, dude. He left when I was 10 years old. So what is he, you know what I mean? I gave him enough of my life, I think. You know what I mean? In my opinion, now I'm not trying to make people hate their parents, but he was there for 10 years of my life, every other weekend, and spent most of that weekend going to the gym, whatever that might have been.
Wherever that gym might have been.
Whatever, bathhouse.
Next to the OTB.
Yeah, something really gay, I'm sure of it. My dad was a very effeminate man. He wore pink stretch pants. One Easter, he wore pink stretch pants with a yellow stripe down the side. That
Well,
was
it's
his
Easter,
Easter
though.
outfit. Yeah.
Pastels are fine.
Also, only wore pastels in general. Also wore like coochie cutter, really short shorts with the long Speedo tank top that covered up the whole thing. Never wore drawers. It was a lot.
Maybe he wasn't at the gym. Maybe he was in Miami on South
He
Beach.
was in the bathhouse getting blown by
All right.
Fred from the Walmart.
Oh, all right.
That's what I think.
I didn't never
anyway.
see Fred, so I can't really make any judgment.
Well,
here.
Fred was gross, but
All right.
I think he paid him.
Oh, there's that.
And if you're gonna get a blowjob and get some money, you know what I mean? And
Yeah,
you're not
it's
doing
win-
heroin, you know what I
win-win.
mean?
Yeah, that's true.
I don't think he was doing heroin. He did have a big bag of white stuff though. He was actually
Very energetic guy.
yeah, he was on one. Where did I go wrong here?
So same thing with my kids, which is what the point that you were getting to is my son, he's an only child, currently an only child, and it was a very long, torturous process to have him. And so one of the end results of that is that my wife is super fucking protective of him.
Right.
And I'm not. Not that I want him to jump off my roof, but like, so for example, he's 10, he's going to be 11, he's going into 5th grade.
Right.
I don't think he's old enough, let's say, to cross a major highway, but he should be okay on like a major two-way street.
Right.
Right? So, no, can't do it. Can't do it. Why? Because he could get hurt. He's going to cross the street at some point. But I have a Wawa that's almost like literally in my backyard.
Yeah.
Like you don't have to go on a street. They built a pathway to get to it.
Uh-huh.
She won't let him go by himself. Like I could literally see him walk into the Wawa and walk back out of the Wawa. She's too overprotective of him in that way.
Yeah.
So like we have to balance that. But then the other thing you were getting to was we've never spoken to him like a baby, and we've never treated him like a baby. We've cared for him. I'm not saying we didn't, but like there was never the goo goo gaga shit. And now when I talk to him, I really do, like you said, like it's like I'm talking to a little grown man most of the time.
Yeah.
Until he does something so out of pocket that I have to remember, fuck, he's only 10 years old. I really can't be in this fight with him because that's not him. Even though a lot of the time when you talk to him, you're like, this fucking kid, he gets it. He gets me. I can tell him everything. I can't quite tell him fucking everything.
Yeah. I hear you. I've come to the realization where you're like, as a parent, you're never, so like when you're a kid and you see your parents, you're like, oh, they're adults and they get it.
Right.
You know what I mean? And they figured it out. They
got it
do
all
it. They
together.
can
They got
drive
a
a
house.
car.
Yeah.
They can, all this
They're
stuff.
raising kids.
Yeah, but then when you're a parent, you realize you don't know shit,
Not a fucking
and that
thing.
you'll never know shit. You're just always gonna learn shit,
Not
and
till
that,
after it's done.
yeah, and not even then. You know what I mean? Then you got grandkids and other shit going on. I'm just saying,
Right.
like you as a kid, you think that you look at your parents like, oh, these people are superheroes. They figured it out. You know what I mean? And then as a parent, you realize that you never knew shit, and you're never gonna know shit. You
Right.
know, and that's a cool thing. But like the thing I deal with my daughter now is the same kind of deal where I'm real friendly with her and real Joe with her and cool with her, and we're hanging out, and she's about to be 8 years old, so she's starting to get it a little bit. She still sucks her thumb. She still can't spell very good, but we're working on shit.
All
But she gives me a lot. So like and then that's the shit that really gets me Because that's like, it'll be like my reaction is to just be a dad in that scenario, but then I'm like, fuck. Like that's
My son is my spitting image.
it's so
And
weird,
when
man.
he hits me with the fucking wise ass shit, and I want to be pissed at him, and I'm like, I can't be angry with you because I know exactly where you
Yeah.
got that from, and that's my fault.
So
But-
it's like I see her amplified when she's dealing with my mom, and it's me with my mom. It's
Right.
her,
Right.
younger me with my mom. So like when she's doing that with my mom, and my mom's looking at me like, "Are you gonna reprimand her from doing this?" And I'm kind of like trying to
No.
stop chuckling first, you know what I
Yeah,
mean? Before I say
absolutely.
like, "Oh, love Nana," you know what I
Right.
mean? Like, okay,
that was hilarious.
yeah, that was the funniest
five.
thing ever. Yeah, right, exactly. That was quality. Like she just like she doesn't have any time for Nana. Nana, my mom, is constantly doing things. The way that my mom is wired is she expects everyone to feel exactly what she's feeling at every moment that she's feeling.
Sure.
I struggle with this as well, but I'm aware of it enough to know that I can back. Oh, I was wrong. I
Right.
fucked up. Okay, my mom doubles down, triples down. She's Blake Gerard. She's 100% in on this shit, right? So allegedly.
Allegedly.
She's so
Allegedly.
okay, and I was hoping.
No, God bless.
Yeah, God bless her though. Yeah, she's a good man. But so my mom is like, as the years have gone on, they haven't been very kind to my mom in the way that she works. You know what I mean?
Okay.
The way her brain works and everything just seems a little shot out. She's still a good woman. She still cares greatly. She loves my daughter to death. She's sending me, she's over there right now, right? Because my mom is a way better mom than her mom, right? As
Yeah.
far as I'm concerned. And as far as the world would be concerned if they saw a minute of it.
Right.
As shot out and weird as she is, she does come from a nurturing, caring. She did this, you know what I mean? And I was no easy task. I was in and out of alternative schools. I was in suspension. I was in expulsion. I was in oh shit, I was in summer school for fucking 5 years. I was just fucking up, when I started smoking cigarettes when I was in 7th grade. You know what I mean? It sounded like 7. I started smoking weed in 5th grade. You know what I mean? Like I was not, my mom was going out. I was having parties at the house. We all ran out the back door. She knew exactly what was going on.
She's not
She
stupid.
walked on me having sex when I was 15.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? All the stuff, right? So I gave her enough, right? But she was violent. She was crazy, and she did the bite the finger thing. She would be like, "Hey, you motherfucking," and I knew I had to
Lenny
get the
and
fuck
Squeaky.
away because you can't hit her back. You know what I
No.
mean? She's just gonna wail off on you, throw shit at you, whatever the case was.
You can never hit your mom back, but you get to the point where you can fully defend yourself, and then the game's over.
Yeah.
My mom used to come with the wooden rolling pin a lot,
Okay.
and she would just whoop my ass with it. And then one day, I knew she was coming with it. It was my fault, but I knew she was coming with it. I put a pillow on my arm. She swung. I blocked it. I took the rolling pin away from her, and then we never fucking had violence again. And that was it.
I wish my mom
Just
learned
squared up.
something like that. I didn't. The thing with my mom is she would stone cold slap me in the face, and I would laugh because I'd
Yeah.
be like, "That's all you got? Yeah, that's it, huh?"
Hit
and
me
it would
again,
be
Ray.
like,
Hit
I
me
would,
again,
yeah,
Ray.
exactly. It would be like something so stupid, like I didn't shovel the driveway before I had a
Right.
2-hour delay or something like that, and it would just be like she would fucking spaz on me, dude. And look, rightfully so. My dad was like, if I were to throw a tissue into that trash can and miss it, my dad would whoop my ass.
Yeah.
Like, he didn't play that shit. He was a very meticulous dude, and like you just didn't fuck around with that.
That's why
know
you
what I
like
mean?
lists.
Yeah, it's why I like
Yeah.
this. But he like I remember him stone cold spanking me like right before he left. Like I was like 10 years old. I farted on accident. Coming out of the bathroom was up in the back by the kitchen. My room, which wasn't my room. I wasn't allowed to have shit in my room. I was only there every other weekend. So that was a guest room / my room, right? Had like pictures of the fucking Eiffel Tower on the. It was like shit, I brought my own clothes in a book bag. I put it in the drawers because I
Okay.
had to. Right?
Right.
It was just like it wasn't like my family, right? But he was like he always did the point to the chest thing. Like anytime I got in trouble in school, which really didn't start until after he left. But I got like suspended for something that I didn't even do when I was younger. But I just took the fall for it because I knew who really said what
Right.
was said, and I was just like, I guess this
Just let
is
it go.
me.
Yep.
Yeah. But I remember I got a huge bruise on my chest from him just fucking
Just doing
pointing
the
into my
taps.
chest. Oh
Yep.
my god, dude, the guy was vicious. But back to my daughter and my mom, it's just like she really has no time for my mom's bullshit. My mom goes out on like she always wants to put my daughter's hair up.
Okay.
Put your hair up. Put your hair up. Dahlia doesn't want her hair up. She's
Right.
fine with her hair down. She likes putting it in her mouth every once in a while and chewing on it. That's her thing. I don't care that she chews on her hair. It's a lot better than sucking your thumb when you're fucking 7 years old.
Sure, you're not gonna
so
get
I'm
buck
okay
teeth
with
from
it.
it,
Yeah. I show her a picture of Freddie Mercury all the time, and I don't want to tell her that that's why he got buck teeth, but we all know why he got buck
Yeah.
teeth. And
It's a hell of a
from-
thumb.
Yeah. It's what, Jerome had a big one. But so but she is just so fucking hilarious with my mom, and it's just like I just see it. So that's where it started, where I started seeing it, was with my mom, because I'm just like, oh my God, it's me. It's the same, like, go fuck yourself attitude. Like, I'm not doing that.
Right.
You're like, like, my mom wants a hug because that's her daughter, that's her granddaughter, and she
come give me
loves
a
her.
hug.
And
Yep.
my daughter doesn't understand that, we could get hit by a truck and that could be the last time you
Right.
see Nana, or she could die
Yeah.
from a heart attack, and that's my mom's
Yeah.
sickly too, right on top of everything. So, she doesn't get that, and you don't expect her to get that.
No.
It's good that she doesn't get it, because that's
Right.
a fucking
You-
lot to bear.
You don't need to worry. Yeah.
But my mom's also big on worrying. She's big on projecting all her bullshit and all that stuff. So my daughter is, and she's right. My daughter's right. It's like the egoless state. You know what I mean? It's like my daughter's just in the now. She's
Yeah.
not giving a
Yeah,
fuck about any
she's
of that.
7. She
and
doesn't
she's
have to.
100% right. If
Yeah.
we could all tap into that and be that way more often, we'd all be better people.
Yeah, there'd be a whole bunch less anxiety.
But she'll be like, we'll get into the car, and she'll be like, I really don't like hugging Nana goodbye. And I'll be like, why? She's like, because Nana just really wants to hug me goodbye, and it makes me not want to hug her. And I'm like, you're fucking right a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, I see the little girl in you that's going to grow up into a woman that's going to drive some dude fucking out of his mind crazy on that same kind of concept.
I call that gas pedaling. And it happened, like, I hate it. I despise it. Like, ask me for something once, remind me, but, like, don't ask me every 20 minutes, because when you get to that part, like, can you do this for me? Can you do this for me? Can you do this for me? Like, that third time in a row,
Yeah.
I'm just going to, like, it's not going to get done now.
Yeah.
Like, I was planning to do it the first time you asked me and the second time you reminded me. But, like, when you keep going at it, how about we do this? How about you hug me? Where's my hug? Hey, aren't you supposed to hug me? Oh, you're here. You're never fucking getting
Dude,
a hug from
you'd
me.
never hug
You're
my mom
done.
then.
You're
If my
done.
mom was your mom,
Yeah,
you'd never
you're
hug her.
done.
Because she's legit. She'll be like, so I'm like that, only it's the first fucking time you ask me. So I'm like
Okay.
already elevated, right? So it's like, it's Grandpa's birthday today. You gonna call him and say hello? Well, I was until
Right.
you fucking called me. Now it's like you told me to call him, and that's not the fucking
now,
point of
now
the
you
thing.
can't do it because now you only
Now
called
I'll
because
call
your
him
mom
tomorrow
reminded.
when I fucking forget that you told me.
Right.
Because
Because now you're only calling because she reminded you. Like,
Exactly.
no, I knew I was gonna do
No,
it.
I was gonna call you. I just was gonna wait until after 7:30 a.m.
Right.
Like, what the fuck?
I got my 3 minutes and then I can call.
Yeah, I'll call you after 5. I'll call you when the sun goes down.
Right.
Get on your Verizon.
Yeah.
Or whatever the fuck
But
the
no,
thing was back
I
then.
get that too. That whole, like, why are you reminding me of things like I'm 13 years old?
Yeah.
Don't forget to take your coat. It's snowing out. Like,
Oh
you know
my
what?
God,
I'm
my
fucking
mom
going
is
out in
the
a t-shirt.
fucking
Fuck
worst
you.
at that. She's like, I can't believe you wore that here. I'm like, I'm a grown fucking man.
You
I'm
don't-
a grown
You
man.
don't wear a raincoat. I'm gonna fucking go from the car to the door. What
And
the
then-
fuck do I need a
And then,
raincoat
God
for?
forbid you use logic. Dahlia, make sure you put your coat on. I got the car heating up. Well, make
Right.
sure you put your coat on. Well, then she has to take the fucking coat off to get in her
get
car
in-
seat.
yeah.
Dude, just fucking, I'm the dad, all right? I'm taking my daughter in the car. She's fucking fine, dude. It's nothing's going to happen in
Yeah,
the
shit,
4 seconds.
There's no hypothermia between
Body
here and the
temperature
house.
isn't even going to change. You ever
No.
get out of the jacuzzi in the
Right.
wintertime? You're fucking fine walking into the house.
Yep.
Your feet could be melting the snow for fucking 27 steps.
you'll be
before
good.
You're 100% okay. There's no logic. I start to think that women, like they just, and I think it's more so women, because I don't deal with it as much as I have a problem with maybe my dad or whatever. I just stop talking to him and we don't talk, and then it's fine.
And
He's not bugging me to talk to him. Everything's good. It's
Right.
just like, it's like a girlfriend that doesn't want to be my girlfriend anymore. It's just like, it's over. You know what I mean? It's all done. It's just something that's familiar with me. I just texted my ex the other day. I've been texting my
Why?
ex.
What are you doing?
I don't know what my
Then
problem
stop.
is.
Then stop.
Well, here's my problem.
No, there's no problem. Just stop.
I just think that I was a little wrong, and
Doesn't matter.
All right.
She's your ex, right?
Yeah,
That's
she's
it.
my ex.
Just let
She
her be
lives
your
very
ex.
far away.
Good.
Dude. And there's-
Canada?
No, Florida though.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Then don't worry about it, because you don't have to. Don't worry about it. You are so mired in worrying about it, but you don't gotta worry about it. She might have been great. I don't know her. I'm not judging her.
She was good in bed.
All I'm saying is there's other girls.
Yeah.
There's other people.
They're not
everywhere.
working for me though.
Then you haven't found the right one
I'm
yet.
having a lot of trouble.
Keep
I think I
working.
gotta stop. I think I gotta
Why?
not try.
Well, I mean, there's something to that whole
So we were
sort of let
talking.
it come
You
to
guys
you.
were talking about it, about me. I was talking about it with Cove.
Okay.
We're always talking about it.
Yeah.
It's a big thing on my life, right? Because
Yeah.
I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I don't know how to do it.
Then don't do it.
Well, I want to do it. I miss
no,
it. Dude.
That's not what I mean by don't do it. What I mean is don't focus on do it. So we were talking about rappers and we're talking about Biggie, and the thing that makes Biggie great is everything feels effortless. It's not pre-planned.
Do I strike you as that guy? Because I try so fucking hard when I rap.
So So here's another thing. When my son loses something, because I'll make this work.
Yeah.
When my son loses something, I'll ask him like, "Do you think it might be here?" And he'll say, "No, it's not there." I said, "Did you check?" "No, it wouldn't be there." "Well, you don't have it, so maybe there's a possibility it's there."
Right.
So maybe there's a possibility that the guy that you are, the guy that you strike me as, that's not the right guy. Like
Yeah.
like not in massive changes kind of ways, but like in the smaller of things, maybe that guy is why it's not working out. Maybe you
Right.
need to back off of that guy a little bit. Maybe you don't need structured lists all the time. Maybe you don't need to, before you walk up to a girl, concern yourself about, do I have the right shirt? Am I wearing my pants? What am I going to say? What are the
It's
words?
just what
gonna
am
be?
I gonna say?
What's my
And
icebreaker
nothing
gonna
else
be?
matters.
What half funny, half clever line am I going to say that's going to make her laugh
in
and
my
fall
head,
in love with me?
it's the
Because you
same
watched
thing.
a fucking movie.
It's the same thing about not wanting to fail where you once succeeded at. It's like that same thing we touched on earlier, where it's like
So how are you judging success?
at accomplishing things.
Well, no. So we're talking specifically about relationships. What's a successful relationship?
Not necessarily even a successful relationship, but more so a successful attempt.
Okay. So the only thing that makes it successful is if you connect and go out. Like there's no possibility that it could be successful even though it doesn't work out.
100% there could be success, but it doesn't work
Okay.
out.
So then what's your metric for success?
You're a fucking piece of shit. I hate when people make me wrong.
I'm not trying to make you wrong.
No,
I'm
no,
trying to
no.
make you
That's
see
how
it-
I see all
I'm
things.
trying to make you see it from a broader perspective.
Right.
Because the problem 9 times out of 10 is going to be that you're in this narrow, this is who I am and how do I make this work sort of focus. But the reality of it is, it doesn't have to work that way. You can
Right.
be you, but you don't have to be a rigid version of you for it to work. I met my wife because we were sitting like 2 desks away at work, and she was saying something that was completely factually incorrect. And I sent her an email, and I was like, "You're wrong, and here's why." So we started talking after that, and her friend was trying to date me, and I took them to Wawa, and the friend's sitting in the front seat, and I'm sitting in my seat, and she's in the back seat with sunglasses on, her arms crossed, and kind of scrooched up. Now, in retrospect, she was very sick, not feeling well, and just uncomfortable, but she just looked like she was being a bitch. Right? And I'm like, "You need anything from, I'm going to go in, you need anything?" "I don't need anything." "You're being a real fucking bitch for that I drove you to the Wawa on our lunch."
Right.
And now I'm married to her. So the point is, like, you don't have to have that like best version of you all the time to get things going. There's other ways to get things going and then get to the point where it matters. Because no matter how many people you've dated, that, let's say, for the first month, that's not the real person anyway. I mean,
think
even
here's-
if it's only 50%, that's not the real person. You don't always fucking take a shower before you go out of the house. You don't always put on the cleanest clothes that you have. Sometimes you go, "I only wore it for 2 hours yesterday. I'm good."
Yeah.
Right? You don't always fucking hold your farts in. So that's not the real person.
That's
in
probably
that
the
first-
most accurate part for me.
So you're not that first month person. So why not start at day 31 or day 32?
Well, that's also that effortless confidence you're talking about.
exactly.
It's the same deal. Yeah,
You might as well, because if the day 31 guy is not going to work out, then it's not going to work out at all, no matter what, because you can only bullshit for so long, and then you're going to have to be you at some point, right? I know people who have took till 3 months till they found out that the other person found out that they were a rapper. Like, how did you fucking hide that for 3 months?
Yeah.
And then they found out, and they were like, "I don't like that you go out late and associate with these people," and they broke up.
Right.
So if she had known that at day one, either A, she would have been comfortable with it, or B, they would have never wasted that 90 days to get to the point where, okay, now we're us, and now I'm like, you know what? I don't fucking like you.
But it's not like, so for me, I'm way more, the only thing that really you touched on that's different about me, and like maybe on like a first date type deal, I'm a extra shower, maybe a spritz of cologne guy. But in general, and I'm changing a little bit. Cove is a part of this, right?
Yeah.
There's a part of this now where I do put on
He's got a very different perspective on this than me, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah. But I just am really just holding my farts in. That's like it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm staying over your house. I'm not shitting in your house.
That's
you know what
a
I mean?
big thing, right?
But it's like a little bit of a respect thing, and plus dudes are gross, you know?
So what respect is it that you're not moving your bowels at her house? How is that unless you're doing it on the floor?
Because it's like, no, like, I don't know. Like, even, like, if I'm hanging out, I've never been to your house,
Okay,
right?
sure.
If I come to your house and I have to shit, I might not shit at your house. I might find a way to not shit at your house.
Why?
I might go home early.
Why?
I don't know, because I know that in my house, if I smell another man's shit, it's gonna make me a little bit like, ugh.
So you understand that every human on the planet shits at some point, right?
Yeah, we all shit.
Okay, you're aware of that.
Maybe
right?
not pretty
so,
girls.
So like, oh no, they do.
Pretty
they
girls
do.
might not
They
shit.
do, but apparently it's just like little pebbles.
Oh my
But
god,
they're
it's
like
so
gerbil
beautiful.
shits.
It has to be with that perfect anus. How do they keep such a perfect anus? It's like us with feet. You know what I mean? Like I love a girl's foot, but a man's foot
Sure.
makes me volatile.
Right.
I get uncomfortable.
Yeah,
it's
that's why
it's
you
like
don't like my
asshole.
open toe flap.
Yeah, I can't
I
do
got
it.
you, I got you.
can't do it. But it's just and my new boss does the same thing where he's always wearing flip flops and little shorts. It's like, dude, come on, we're
I don't
all
need-
here.
You don't need the combination, but
It's a
flip-flops.
lot. It's just a lot
I
to
have a
see
problem
that
with
much of a
flip-flops.
man's leg and foot combination. But what I'm getting at is that a woman's anus is a beautiful thing,
Sure.
and a man's anus is
It's
an
not.
absolutely
Yeah,
terrifying.
But that
thing.
also plays into your sexuality.
But,
right?
okay.
I'm sure there's a whole lot of guys that are like, I love a man's anus, but women's anuses are too small and weird. Right?
Oh, right.
It's just a
I think if I'm a gay man, which
Right.
I'm close.
Sure.
If I'm a gay man and
Based on this conversation,
yeah,
you
this
are
is not
closer than you realize.
Yes, I am very gay. It's mostly my sign off with my friends when I'm
Yeah.
on the phone. Yeah, I'm gay, and then I hang
All
up.
right, take it easy.
This is true. People could vouch. But I even think in a gay man that you want a well-kept asshole, which a regular stereotypical maybe.
You want a well-kept everything. Right? You want a well-kept everything, but you understand that that's not always a possibility.
But also, when I love a woman, I don't give a shit. You know what I mean? But it's almost like you almost need that courtship time to show that there's effort being made. You know what I mean?
Oh, I'm not telling you to be a slob. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that, and you're even agreeing, even if it's only on the little things. There's a difference. Okay, there's a difference between walking in her house and blasting her in the face with a fart,
Right.
and sitting around after a meal and
Yeah.
excuse me, pardon me, excuse
yeah.
me, right? I'm not telling you to be vile about it, but what
Yeah.
I'm saying is you don't need to box yourself in anywhere in order to get this going. You're
Bro,
not,
I'm getting up out of the bed
you're-
and going
yeah, see-
into the bathroom and spreading my cheeks so it doesn't make as much noise.
You're now in the age group. You move to the demographic where like the mentality for the most part is going to be, if this shit doesn't happen soon, it's probably never going to happen.
Right.
And people are a lot less concerned about the little picayune things. Oh my God, his shirt doesn't match his pants. I can't date him. That's a 25-year-old woman's
Yeah,
statement.
oh, I
That's not
never
a
been that guy.
I'm just saying that's not a 35-year-old woman's statement. A 35-year-old woman's statement is, well, we can buy some clothes after we get married.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So like, don't concern yourself with these little things that you're concerning yourself with. Throw your personality out there and roll with it.
Yeah, but that's the part. So I'm always that. I'm that, right?
Right.
So if I throw myself out there and I think that I'm being witty and charming and good,
Right.
and I'm not, or it fails, like obviously, all right,
not that
that's not meant to
it's
be.
not failed. It's pitched to the wrong person.
Right. Or
That's all-
I had
that's
a
all it is.
poor pitch though. Like sometimes I rap and I'm the greatest of all time, and sometimes I rap and I'm not.
But sometimes you rap and you think you're the greatest person of all time, and the audience is like,
It
"Eh."
was only when I was 13.
And sometimes you rap and you think it sucked, and everybody else is like, bro, you fucking killed it.
Jersey Fresh.
Right? So it doesn't matter. It doesn't necessarily matter your perspective on it. It matters how it hits the audience.
Yeah.
Right?
All right, yeah,
So
correct.
just be you in every situation. Just be the you that you're always going to be. And it's going to hook the right person at the right time.
Yeah,
and the people it doesn't hook, good. Because then you could never have been yourself around
But then
them.
it's like coming back to the same thing where it's like you have to like the way that I'm presenting myself or whatever might not be the new incarnation of
Okay.
who I'm supposed to be.
Right.
But I'm so used to being this way that I come across this way, and maybe that's why it's not connecting.
Could be.
Because it's not maybe who I really feel like I am right now. Like I'm trying to get back to basics. I'm trying to get back to my mom saying, "Where's my darling sweet boy at? Where it happened to that kid?" You know what I
Right.
mean? Like I haven't been that kid in a long time.
No, because like, did you go to jail?
No.
All right. But you went to fucking summer school, right?
Yeah,
Like,
I went to summer school and I was in
you smoked
alternative
weed
school and I was
yeah, you're never gonna be her sweet little fucking 6-year-old boy anymore.
Yeah,
that's
the-
just some shit mom's put on you.
popping girls in the butt,
Yeah,
dude. You know what I mean?
exactly.
You can't go back from
Talking
that.
about women's pretty anuses is never gonna get you back
love
to
their
being
pretty
fucking
anuses.
mama's little boy.
This is true, I guess. But I wish I was just a little bit more sweet. Like there's nothing. I am such a villain. Like I always like to classify myself as like an anti-hero. I don't know if you're familiar with Miles and his whole story, but like
I am.
he was out there on the Ave being #1 drug dude, right, in the world, and now has changed his life around to
Completely.
the point where he's,
It's
he's
amazing.
going to school and he's doing all
Absolutely.
this stuff, right, and he's got a good relationship, everything,
It's
right?
incredible.
Everything seems to be right on par with like we're all proud of you.
Right.
He is an anti-hero in the story that I picked for him because he's done so many classless, terrible things in his life that I've witnessed. Right now, he's grown from that, and now he is of this ilk of like now he's like a person you root for.
But isn't that what makes him the hero? The overcoming.
I guess.
Even if you set up your own obstacles, if you overcome them, you're the hero. The anti-hero is the person who is leading everyone to darkness, but seems like it's a lot of fun on that side. He's not an anti-hero. He's a hero. He's a person who like found
depends
himself
on-
maybe through his own doing, but found himself in the unsurvivable odds section of the game and survived.
Right.
It's fucking amazing.
Yeah.
So that's heroic.
But all these dark times is what makes. I see what you're saying, but to me, it's like the dark things that made him. Also, it's like if Joker. It depends on your perception of the overall cause
Fair.
too, because Joker appears to be a villain. But if you like, he could not, especially in the last movie, the Joker movie, like it almost looks like he's not the villain. It almost plays Batman to be like a bad guy a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It kind of plays off of.
There's a case to be made for that, but that's a very rare thing, and it's also, again, comic book. Like we
All
get.
right. Well, I'm going to let go of the Miles conversation because I'm not winning this one. It's all about winning for me, Payday. You're not going to convince me.
Then you're going to
otherwise.
have problems.
Yeah,
here.
yeah. It's all right. Problems is supposed to make good radio. I want to hear problems. But I've always played the villain in my head, where I've always kind of been like outlandish and brash and
Yeah,
blunt and,
for sure.
and brutal. You know?
I'll be 100% honest with you. I didn't want you to come into the podcast.
Yeah.
I'm going to be totally honest. I know you. I saw you the first time at Screw's release party. I was friends with Screw before that. We've talked. I've produced songs for him, et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
Saw him at the show. Saw you host the show. You were a fucking blast.
Yeah.
So I start talking to Screw. I was like, I know I'm not going to fuck with you too much, but like, do all these other people just work with Rob, or like, what are they up for other production? Especially Biz and especially Zap. And he's like, you could talk to Zap, but I think Biz is really Shed Guy. Like, okay, fine. So, but then I friended you on Facebook, and I'm paying attention to the guy on Facebook.
Right.
Right. And I'm like, this guy at this time is fucking revolting.
Yeah.
Right. And in the meantime, I meet Zap. I'm friends with Zap. We're good friends. And he brings Johnny over. And Johnny's good friends with you. I don't know if he still is. I assume he is.
I
But,
just picked him up the other day.
okay. So Johnny's good friends with you. And I keep telling him, he's like, I want to get Biz over here to do a song or two with us. And I'm like, I really don't know about this guy, because this guy I see on Facebook is like a piece of shit. And he's like, no. He's like, that's not who he is. That's the guy on Facebook. Trust me, he's this other guy. And I'm always suspect of that game plan of like, I'm going to be a troll, but then in real life, I can completely back out of being that troll. That always feels like bullshit to me. Like,
Yeah.
okay, maybe you're not as amplified, but you have
There's
these
levels
things
to that are truth.
Yeah.
100%.
So I'm like, I don't want to fuck with this guy. And then, but like, I'm not going to confront you about it, because who the fuck am I to confront you one way or the other?
Well, here we are.
Right. Well, this is what I'm saying. So Cove's like, I want to have Biz over. And I'm like, this is how I feel about Biz. I'm certainly not going to fight with him on the air, but like, if he's that guy, I'm just going to like, it's going to be a lot of friction. Like, it's not going to be fun.
Right.
You came in, you're an entirely different person than that person.
Right.
And even your Facebook is slightly different than that person. The problem becomes, and this plays into the other beef that you're having, the problem becomes you've left that trail. And not everybody's just going to say, okay, on August 30th, 2021, Biz said this, this, and this. And these are like caring, respectful things that I would never expect from him. He's a whole new person. Wash the past. Wash it all out. Not everybody's capable of that. A lot of people are
No,
going to
nor
say,
should they be, really.
a lot of people are going to say, well, you got to prove yourself for more than one day that you've changed. So perhaps part of your problem is this pool that you're trying to pull from is aware of the history of Biz.
Right.
And you need to find some people who just want to know, I don't want to say new, because that sounds wrong. Better trained Biz, but more mature Biz. That's all. More mature,
growth,
more
yeah.
growed up Biz, adult Biz. They want to know adult Biz and don't know kid Biz, because you don't want them sitting there thinking, is he gonna make a fucking stupid tranny joke in front of my parents just to see their reaction?
Yeah.
Like, they don't want to fucking put up with that.
Right.
But if there's somebody who like just doesn't expect that from you either way,
Right.
Maybe you're better off.
Yeah.
Right? Stop trying to date your fans is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. A little bit. No, I never try to date my fans. I'm the same guy that maybe dates a girl that doesn't know I'm a rapper for fucking 3 months. You
Right.
know what I mean? Because and it's not necessarily that I'm hiding that from them. It's just not something that
Worlds collide.
Yeah, it's kind of like not necessarily something I'm extremely proud of, especially like when I look at it as like the perception of what I do is like, once again, going back to something we talked about off air was I just do it for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It wasn't always that way,
Right.
but at least the incarnation of me, because I stopped for a long time. I had my daughter. I didn't really do it or whatever. They would bring me out to shows. I'd get into fucking fights with people like Burke or Capo or whatever the fuck the case may be.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think I was super out of pocket.
Capo knocked you out once?
He didn't knock me out, but he did.
Slugged you against the
He
car?
fucking wrecked me,
Okay.
dude. He smacked me so hard that my head went into a GMC door and
Okay.
dented, incaved the whole entire door.
Okay, yep.
And the only thing that made me upset, I legitimately cried out front of the M room. The only thing that made me legitimately upset was prior to that, oh wait, that wasn't the same show. I don't think I cried at that show. I did cry at another show where Adlib wanted to fight me, and I got thrown off stage by Burke, who I landed on my buddy Adrian Ask's then girlfriend, and he was pissed at me for landing on I got thrown, right? So
Right.
my whole thing was I'm defensive here. I got thrown off stage.
But this is one of those things where, like, if you didn't antagonize it in the first place, you wouldn't have gotten thrown.
I thought in that case, I still to this day, and me and Burke are very similar creatures in one way, where we're both kind of like unapologetically ourselves, you know? And me and Burke now we talk, and he recognizes my growth, I recognize his growth. We've come to a place where it's like, oh, here's why we butted heads, A,
Right.
B, and C,
Yeah.
and it's obvious now.
But it's
because
easy
we
to
can
look
see
back on it, yeah.
Yeah, and I can
as
see,
long as you can stay in each other's circle long enough to get to that mature place.
I always viewed myself as among those men.
Right.
And I was younger than them by a substantial amount of time. They watched me grow up. I was doing shows with them when they were 28 and I was 17.
Right.
So by the time I was 21, 23, and I knew these guys now for 5, 6, 7 years, I wasn't hanging out all the time, but I went over Reef and Hodges to go watch Eagles games, and Burke was there,
Right.
and you know what I mean? Whoever, you know what I mean? So I thought I was rubbing shoulders with these
Yeah.
dudes. I didn't look at it as if like
Like, they're
I'm
bringing you up.
but they weren't bringing me up, but they were. I didn't see myself as being like the young fucking knucklehead. I saw myself as being like, I know I'm not on Reef's level,
But
you know
like
what I
a
mean?
peer.
But like a peer.
Yeah.
But they didn't see me that way.
Right.
But I thought they did. So the thing that happened with the Burke instance is Burke said something about me on stage that was like a joke, and then I went back on stage and said, "Shouldn't you be throwing a pizza somewhere?" It's like something
Right,
stupid.
right,
I
right.
just wanted to say something. You
Right.
know what I mean? Like throw it back.
So we're all throwing bows. Let's have fun.
Right, and it wasn't. If it was funnier, maybe it would have been better. Like I don't. It was something very similar to what I just
Landed
said.
wrong,
It wasn't that good, right? And he didn't see it that way, and felt like a diss. I understand what happened now, but
Right.
at the time, I felt like I was there. Not until recently do I feel like I'm there. And Burke is pretty far removed from music at this point. You
Right.
know what I mean? So it's like a different and. And honestly, I'm not. My whole life isn't gung ho. Let's make some music.
Yeah.
You know, the Capo instance was I stole his. I was legit. Me and Capo at the time, I was big on Battle Axe Warriors is a fucking complete sham, and I still stand by this.
It's correct.
It's a complete sham.
Correct.
I'm mostly correct, Payday.
100% correct.
Okay, allegedly. I am.
They're a good man.
Yeah. But I was big on that just being a complete sham, and was like, dude, the people that are associating with this are not getting the bigger picture, and this is a complete
pyramid scheme.
fallacy and fucked up. And fuck Mad Child for even doing this to
Right.
try to get out of the country. Like it's obvious what's going on
Right.
here, and you guys are all wearing and flying this flag and wearing the fucking
Right.
stupid jackets and all
Yep.
this shit. So the people that were involved with this, i.e., people like Adlib and people like Capo at the time or whatever, we've all come and seen the light. It's like repping Zulu Nation and then realizing that Africa Bambaataa is a kid diddler or whatever the
Right.
fuck he did, right? You stop, you get away from it.
Right.
So, and maybe I was a little bit more alert. Once again, I was seeing it from the outside, and I'm gonna fucking talk my shit either way. That part of me really hasn't changed. Although when I put myself out there like that, it's to get sunned. You know, like you can't
Right.
you can't throw yourself out there with someone who knows. You're a big dude like that. You know what you're talking about. You don't usually talk out of school. If you don't know, you'll even preface it by being like, I don't really know, but, and then give some fucking,
Right.
worded answer or whatever the case may be.
Right.
I'm not well worded. I just speak from my heart, and it just comes out. Not necessarily even well calculated or anything like that. It just comes out of my mouth. But the battle axe thing was big, and then we went to Marston House that day, and we're all doing a rap thing.
Freestyle.
I'm not really talking to Capo or anything like that, but we're both in the room.
Right.
At the end of my verse, I say I'm with the Marston something to back swore, I'll be at your back door creeping on your fat whore, whatever it was, right? But I represented them in not a slanderous way.
Right.
And then afterwards, me and Capo dap hands or whatever. I was drinking from the moment I got to Marston House to the moment I got smacked in the face. Never been knocked out, but
Well, knocked down.
I got hit. I probably should have been. If I didn't have titanium in my head, I probably. But I was off stage, wilding the fuck out while Capo was on stage, and while I'm wilding the fuck out, I'm not noticing that he's getting agitated with me wilding the fuck out.
Because you're wilding the fuck out.
I'm wilding the fuck out.
Right.
So he's like looking at me and like, whatever, like in my face with his hands and shit like that. And I'm just eating it up. I'm like, yeah, motherfucker. You know what I mean? Because I'm thinking once again, it's all good, bro.
We're having fun.
We're all having
It's a
fun.
blast.
Here. But people are looking at me and not looking at him. And for someone like Capo's a serious dude. I'm not serious, dude. I'm
Right.
Mr. Not
sure.
Serious dude.
Right.
I'm on stage. I'm having fun. If someone's over there, I'm working off of that. That's
Mm-hmm.
I'm jumping down with that dude. I'm gonna put my ass on his cock, and we're gonna see who wins this battle.
Okay.
Right? I'll win.
That's a hell of a game of chicken.
What I'm
but okay.
just saying, I'm just saying that I always play that. The same
Yeah.
thing like when I came into school and they were like, "Oh, your mom's so hot, dude. I want to eat her pussy." I was
Right.
like, "Well, I had a taste on the way out. It's not that great." You know what I mean?
Overrated.
Right. But that's my take on
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Where other people might be like, "I'll fucking stab you." You talk about my fucking mom, bro.
Right. Yeah.
It's just not where I come from.
Right.
I never was violent. Back to the Voss shit. I'm backing up on the Voss shit because the conversation that I had with Cove made me think like it's not really his cross to bear. It's my cross to bear.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's my thing that I have to work out.
Right.
And my initial reaction to what he did was just kind of a smirk, to be honest. And then I psyched myself up.
Right.
Like I was like, like,
Yeah.
oh, that's cool.
It was exactly something that you would do.
100%.
It was exactly something that you would do to prod somebody for sport. I won't say for fun necessarily, but for sport.
Yeah.
And when you got prodded, you went in a different direction. This is that thing because you've changed. You are not the guy who would prod somebody like that anymore.
Well, not not
So when he did it, you're forgetting that you were that guy.
yeah.
So for him to do it to the biz that he probably knows best is not really a thing for him. He probably doesn't consider it like, oh, I'm going to really fuck up Biz's day. So now you're treating it like new Biz, going, what is this man coming at me for? And really, he's just going at Kid Biz.
Yeah.
Right? And now
But
you
not
want to
even
fight
that.
him.
I mean, that was one of the things.
He said some stuff on the response on the chat, but he respectfully deleted it.
Yeah, I didn't see any of that. He just told me that he wrote that.
Yeah.
He wrote to me.
I saw it. I was like, now we're gonna get into like this gang war situation that
Yeah,
like.
but how good would that be for ratings?
well-
I would have bigged it up if Cove didn't make me start thinking and reflecting, dude. We would have fucking killed it, dude.
You're gonna be on the undercar for the next Jake Paul.
Yeah, me and Voss. I got him. I would have had him 4 years ago when I was a fat schlub. But that's besides the point. Like I'm not gonna slander. Like so, the thing was he wrote to me what he wrote to me, and he basically said like you said yourself that you deserved it, and that's something that I didn't previously say, right?
Okay.
Because I did say irrehensible, awful, like me again, crossing that line 100 times over, right? Like you said something that was like this, like he did a very little thing.
Right.
It bothered me because he promoted that little thing as part of his thing.
Right.
That was really
Put it on repeat.
Yeah, like I did this little ha 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 ha, and then it was like I was getting nudged, and I'm like, dude, I'm not the fucking guy, dude. I'm not doing that shit anymore. You know what I mean? And that's what bothered me about it was just like, dude, I'm not over here. I got a kid. We just got out of COVID. Everyone's dealing with financial struggles. It's just like it's at a bad time for me to be doing that. But
I'm not here for rap beef right now.
But I'm also not very courteous of that and other people still to this day of what you're going through. That's irrelevant to my stupid joke.
Yeah.
You know, my stupid joke takes precipice over everything that you're going through because it's my fucking stupid joke. You know what I mean? And still, like, you could say that I've grown and I've done whatever and maybe I'm improving or whatever. But there's, we never get to, we just try, and I think that.
And that's fine. And you're trying harder than you ever have. And that's fantastic for you. As long as it's working for you, it's fantastic for you.
Yeah, I don't know.
But again, the point was still just that, like, just because you've ascended doesn't mean that everybody's going to forget your path.
But the weird thing is my initial response to that issue, not to fucking dwell on this, I can't believe we're talking about this again. But my initial response was like, Like, it was almost flattering.
Right.
Because he tries.
You still thinking about me?
He tries.
Right.
Like, I never was a guy that tried.
Right.
My biggest thing about that I wasn't a guy that tried is I didn't want to fail.
Right.
Always. Still to this day. It's like, people are like, yo, man, you should really, like, your shit's more calculated now. You're better at it. You can just do it. It's more of an effortless thing. It's more of like you're just kind of just doing it, And you should give it a go. And I'm like, I think I'm done. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just having fun, right? I make a song with Miles and Rob. It's like, damn,
It's
we've
fun.
been making
Do a
music
video.
for fucking 15 years.
Yep.
You know what I mean? We make a video. He makes it. It's just like we're just having fun.
Right.
We didn't hire fucking Wayne Campbell to shoot the video. We
Right.
did it with a GoPro, which is a different thing. So I think that with him, like, being a dude that's always tried, that's something you could always equate Voss to. You could say Voss is a better rapper than Biz because you can say that Voss made all these fucking efforts. Like,
Well, he
Biz
worked at it.
didn't do shit.
Right.
It's like saying, whatever.
Biz showed up and rocked his personality, whereas Voss was crafting his rhymes.
Yeah, or crafting his persona. If he was
Okay.
crafting his rhymes, I'm sorry. But well, no, I just don't. I can't not do that, dude. You know what I mean? Like, I listen to shit. Some people just don't have the voice for this shit. I don't know what to tell you.
You're allowed to have your opinions on everything.
My
That's fine.
opinions are being had with Voss and his musical stature, but that doesn't have anything to do with the fact that I don't respect him for going out there and trying. I was extremely happy for him
Right.
on the BET shit. I watched it religiously. Even then, having I never liked this dude, right? But I still was proud of him and happy for him. You know what I mean? Anybody who's doing shit and the bigger level, it's like, oh, you're accomplishing more than I could ever accomplish.
Good for you.
Me and Rich had a huge beef for a large part of our life. He swung on me one time. There was a lot going on there. And
Rich swung on you?
yeah. He at a M-Room show. He brought me around the block, and the reason was I wouldn't leave him alone about his ring on his finger. I wouldn't leave him alone. He always wore a wedding ring on his finger, and I would pry and 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 not leave it alone because I just wanted. This is a dude that I go and rock stages with. This is a dude that's been in my house. This is a dude that I want to know you, dude, and I feel like you're hiding something from me. So what the fuck is up with the hiding shit from me shit?
Right.
And because I made it public, like I often do, it became a thing that he felt attacked for, and rightfully so to a degree. But it also, with Rich, and not to, speak on someone who's not here to speak for themselves, but I think that I was I think that with Rich, more than anyone else, my prodding and psychopathic tendencies made him a better guy. Like, it made him open up and change the way that he was. He didn't start. It used to be like if he had a 40 and a blunt, he wouldn't be smoking the blunt of the 40 on the camera. You know what I mean? Because it was about his image.
Right.
And then eventually it became like, this is who I am. I smoke 40, or I smoke blunts. I drink 40s. You know what I mean? And it was less fraudulent.
Right.
Which is like my whole shit. I want to be the CM Punk of this shit. I want you to see me and feel like that's real.
That's
you know what
yeah.
I mean?
Yeah.
And that's really it. Like, I think that's why he's so the way he is because he makes wrestling feel real. I mean, I fucking jumped up and down in my chair.
When he came out?
I let my daughter stay up to watch it. Like, it was like a big deal for me.
Right.
You know what I mean? My mom bought me a shirt. She knew how much it fucking meant. You know what I mean?
Awesome.
Like, it meant a lot. Yeah, she's all right. She thinks QAnon's gonna save the world, but she can buy me a shirt. Yeah, dude, it's rough, dude. It's a rough life I live. But anyway, yeah. So I'm big on the whole real shit, and I have a problem with the fake shit. And maybe there's levels to this now where I start to get to the more real me. You know
Right.
what I mean? And I think that's what I'm working out.
Yeah.
With what Voss said, I didn't reply to him. I just kind of saw what he said. Cove hit me up the next day and was like, yeah, I talked to Voss, and I never even talked to him about what Voss said to him. You know
Right.
what I mean? It didn't really even occur to me because I don't know what I'm going to feel when he's in front of me.
Right.
And that's where I'm just going to hold it at. You know what I mean? I don't want to get violent. I've never been that dude. I never really want to be that dude.
I suspect that you won't, but not for any other reason than you'll calculate when you're there that it's just not fucking worth it.
It's really not.
Like, there's nothing going to be accomplished by it, so what the fuck is anybody even doing?
But I do think, like, when me and Cove were talking about it, and he was like, I said, I feel like I just need to bust that nut because I've never been the aggressor in that situation.
Right.
I've been holding that other side of it, black eyes, fucking whatever the fuck it was on the other side for so long that I almost want to be the other guy once. You know, I almost want to be the guy who was like, "What the fuck did you say about me, motherfucker?"
Right. And
you
then
know
what?
what I mean?
But and then what?
Well, I don't know what,
Right.
but I think that there's a, you know, it's the same thing with like the going to talk to a girl or whatever, or fucking some chick that you think is, you know, right for you. Whatever. It's like I just want to know, you know what I mean? Because
Okay.
I've never known, and I think that if it was anybody, it's him. Because to me, it's like I just, you know, this is a guy
You're
that
picking a target you think you can beat.
I could always beat him at rap, anything. I always could beat him.
That's what I'm saying. You view him. I don't want to rile this all up again, but you view him as somebody that you have a good shot of winning against. I'll put it that way.
In any facet.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's why you're comfortable with this.
Well, that's probably part of it. Yeah.
Okay.
Which,
Fair
that's-
fair
yeah,
enough.
I know
Fair
this
enough.
is the kind of thing I'm going to listen to this tomorrow, and I'm going to be like, "Fucking Jesus Christ!" That's what I did with the Cove thing.
Yeah.
Like I noticed it in the scenario, and we were talking about it, and I noticed how I felt about it, and then I listened to it the next day, and I'm like, "What the fuck, man?" And if you notice, I mean, I don't know who watches my shit, but I stopped. It was like that day was the last time I ever said anything until now
Right.
about that scenario, because I was just like, I don't know where I'm at with that. You know,
Right.
I was gonna let it die. And I'm just gonna enjoy CM Punk, you know what I mean, and being back.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
all
It's
I'm
good
gonna
that he's back. It's we'll see where they go with it. I think it was a good shoot when he came out. I think it was a decent little
I think it was.
recreation of the pipe bomb sort of look for it and all. I thought he ended a little weak. Like I thought him challenging out was a little softer than it could have been, but they got time to grow the
And
whole.
the fucking the
got time.
ice cream bars was a good send off. You
Yeah,
know what I mean?
they-
I would
I think
love if
they got time.
AEW did ice cream bars. If AEW did ice cream bars, that would be like a huge like, yeah, we did it.
Yeah.
AEW also, they fucking everything they do is outsourced.
Yeah.
Like they don't have like, you don't buy official AEW merchandise,
Right,
which is
right.
a weird thing.
Well, I mean, it's just the way that they're run. It's just in general, they're you know, what's it, Tony Khan? He's just focused on you know, building the brand, and he's doing a good job of it. It's like 50% NWO era, pulling the guys that you know and bringing them to a different level type of stuff, and 50% new creative stuff, which is what the old WCW lacked when they were pulling off that whole NWO reign. Was they weren't building underneath of it. They were just firing that all the time and not creating like a secondary thing. Like they had a great middleweight division. They had a great luchador division.
Right.
And they just, every time it was fucking NWO. And that was great. And it's what put eyeballs on there in the first place.
But they overdid
But
it.
they weren't building out the rest of the organization. And AEW seems to be doing that pretty well.
Well, AEW really focuses on that level of talent,
Yeah.
you know, and they should really focus on it more than they are, you know, because there's way too much young bucks. Not to say that Nick Jackson is an incredible talent or anything like
Right.
that, but there's so much more of that than there needs to be when you have people like Ray Phoenix and you have like all these guys that are just like
Yeah.
extraordinary talents that you couldn't imagine seeing. It's the same deal with seeing, you know, Rey Mysterio in 1998 or Eddie Guerrero or Chris Benoit or Dean Malenko or any of these dudes that put on straight up clinics
Yeah.
at 8:30.
Yeah.
You know, like the second match in, the first match in, that was just like now I'll go back, and I used to have the network. I pretty much watched everything I was going to watch. So
Plus
I got
on
rid of it.
Peacock now.
Yeah, but it's edit. I can't do it when they edit things. I can't do it.
I don't mind the editing so much. The thing that bothers me is like, I want to watch, Nitro from August 3rd, episode 460. Like they're not labeled just by the date. They're
Yeah, no.
episode numbers and shit. It's weird.
I remember the WWE Network when it was on through Comcast,
Yeah.
and you could just go
Just
to
go in. Yep.
WCW or
Year.
the Monday Night Wars,
Yep.
and it would show you back to back, and you could just watch every single
Yep.
one. And I did that.
Yeah,
So
it
what
was
am I going
awesome.
to do it
Right.
again? I don't know. I watched.
Yes.
Yeah, you're probably right. I watched this thing on YouTube called Wrestling Bios.
Okay.
Do you ever see it?
I don't think so.
So Wrestling Bios, he does like a commentary. He's like I'm gonna say this is right. This is why you don't like me. I'm gonna say he is a Indian man from England.
Okay.
And he breaks down all this shit. He's gotten way more confident over the years of doing this. So
Right.
now he like curses a little bit. He
he's a
throws in a
he's a
little
little
extra. Yeah, it's a little much. I liked it better when he was just like
little
pinpoint.
stiffer.
This
Okay.
is this. But it's called Wrestling Bios, and it's really dope. And he does all the Reliving the Wars, and then he does all like the big pay-per-views and all that shit too. And it's really cool to watch because he just is taking little things, right? And
Yeah.
it's cool to just break it down like
All
that,
the way down that
as
far.
opposed to watching 6 hours worth of wrestling.
Right.
To me, the CM Punk thing brought me back to 1997.
Yeah.
It brought me back to Stone Cold coming in with the beer
With the
truck.
glass.
Yeah, dude, and the whole thing. And I think that nobody missed anybody like they miss CM Punk. Like CM Punk was legit gone for 7 years.
Yeah.
And once again,
Went to the UFC.
went to the UFC and got,
It
was
was a
nothing
terrible
there.
idea. It was
Yeah.
a terrible. I don't know why they encouraged that.
Well, he tried. So we should give
Great.
him effort
No,
for trying.
No. You want to try, and then go to like the WFA and go to like a lower organization where someone of your skill level belongs.
Yeah.
Don't just fucking throw your name and your money around to be on the undercard of, not even the undercard, on the main card of a fucking UFC event at that point in time when much better fights could have been happening.
I agree, but he's CM Punk, dude.
Yeah,
And
that's what I'm saying.
well, he belongs where he's at right now. And I
Yeah.
think that AEW was the great, because they're never.
he
he's
wasn't
like-
going back to WWE.
Well, I'm so happy he didn't.
He was never going to.
Yeah, I don't. With everything that happened out of there,
No.
and it was also like Vince did, and I think that's what's going to lose them. The Fox deal now, like they were big on wanting to get Punk back.
Yeah.
That's the big thing with
saw
backstage
that,
and
yeah.
all that stuff. So, and then did you see the Nick Khan interview with
No.
Ariel? What the hell's his name?
Hawani.
Yeah. So he basically just said the entire time, like, "Oh, we're not selling, this ain't this ain't." But
Right.
everything between the lines was, "We're fucking selling, and I'm tanking this company. It's all about the money and the bottom line." And it just makes me very hopeful for AEW. I don't fuck with WWF because of what they've done to the product over the years, and what it just like they just sell everyone so short. Like it took them forever to get Roman Reigns right. Like they shoved
Yeah.
him down your throat forever, and now they finally have something good. But they're gonna ruin it. It's
Yeah.
gonna happen. If not, they just started with bringing Brock back. I mean, that whole thing is just like. I don't know. It doesn't make any sense to me. And I think that AEW is new and fresh and colorful. They're revamping NXT, which was the best program that
Yeah.
they had, at least for a 30-plus-year-old audience. Like NXT was what you could watch really good wrestling match. Kyle
Right.
O'Reilly and all these guys, and and they're losing these guys too. And it's now you're getting like those OG indie guys like Bryan Danielson and CM Punk, and you might get fucking Bray Wyatt, who's like the third
Right.
overall selling merchandise seller ever.
Yeah.
And it's just like they have a real chance. They got to get rid of the EVPs that they have because the Young Bucks are all about. They brought in FTR, they brought in the fucking Revolution or whatever the hell, and they buried them.
Right.
And it was just like, dude, I was so pumped when I was almost to the level of CM Punk.
Pumped. Yep.
CM Pumped. I was
Easy
almost
for you to
CM
say.
Pumped about them.
Yeah.
And then they got buried, and it was like they had like one little program with the Bucks, and that was the end of it. And then you never see them on TV anymore. And it's just like, dude, these guys are fucking incredible. They might
Yeah.
not do no flips, just fists, whatever the fuck. But it's like you got to get rid of the ego there. You know what I mean? To succeed, they need like a real booker. They need like a real writer. They need to do something that's not
They
fucking.
haven't had a real writer in years.
Well, AEW doesn't have a writer.
Right.
They just are fucking.
They're winging the whole thing,
Which is pretty
so
impressive.
Yeah.
And it's cool. And if I'm a talent, I would want to go to somewhere like that. You know what I mean?
Well, yes and no. Like I'm going to make less money in the WWE, but I know it's going to be more organized, which gives me a better shot at longevity.
Yeah, but did you see what they did with Karrion Kross?
Oh no, I'm not saying that they're doing well. I'm just saying like AEW is still not the better option under most circumstances.
Well, if I'm a talent and I'm going to make more money and I'm going to work less dates and they're going
Then,
to
yeah.
give me paternity leave
Well,
if I
yeah.
want it, and they're going to fucking change their storylines around, if you know
that's
what I mean?
how WCW won the war. They went, and at that point in time, the WWF was still real big on house shows and everything. So your top talent was working like 330 days a year,
Right.
And they went and said, "Look, we don't do house shows. You can work 110 days a year and make the same money. What do you think?"
Yeah.
They all went.
Yeah, and then they ruined it because Hogan.
Well, they ruined it because they didn't build. They liquidated everything that wasn't NWO centric.
Also, the Thunder thing really fucked them big.
Because they didn't, but it's all hand in hand. If Thunder was just the middleweights and the luchadors, I would have tuned in every fucking
but
week.
they
but it
like-
was just stretching and stretching,
they
and then the
spread 'em
NWO
so
had
thin.
their own pay per view. It's like, calm the fuck
The
down.
first NWO pay-per-view was really cool, though.
They all sold out.
Yeah. The bikes.
But they had this good thing going, but they were reliant on these old guys,
Yeah.
mostly. And the problem with the old guys is that while they're well known and they're a pop and the eyeballs are there, they can't really. First of all, Hogan could never wrestle. That's fucking bottom line. Hogan has always been a terrible wrestler.
Yeah.
He was never.
So is Nash.
He was never the best wrestler in his organization, not even fucking close. And McMahon knew it, and that's why he would always put him in the ring with great wrestlers so that it would look like a halfway decent fight. Hogan, I don't even think he was that good on the mic.
No, me neither.
I don't really quite understand why he's over so big, but I understand that he is over so
I
big.
think the movies and all that stuff really had a lot to do
But
with
that
it.
all came after. Like, he doesn't do Rocky 3 unless he's already a big star.
Yeah,
right?
but he became way bigger after Thunder Lips.
Probably
Like, way bigger.
Probably, but so they're reliant on these old guys who couldn't wrestle in the first place, and they're not building anything underneath of it.
Yeah.
And I'm not fucking tuning in to watch Conan wrestle with his
Right.
fucking red NWO shirt on, and then they made different NWO factions with the Wolfpack and whatnot.
And then the LWO.
Yeah, and then they fucking got what's his name in there, and that was the end of it. The writer that they thought they stole from the WWF.
Russo.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Russo, who was just fucking awful.
Just tanked it.
Well, he was awful in the WWF.
Well, he was a guy that wasn't a wrestling guy. He
He
was a Jerry
came,
Springer guy.
he came in apparently and pitched that he was the one who wrote like basically the entire arc for The Rock.
when it was probably
And
Cornette.
it had nothing to do with him. He was garbage, and he came in and it was even more garbage. He was the when May gave birth to the wooden hand with Mark Henry. That's him. Like, fucking get out of here.
Yeah.
So-
yeah, he did tank that company.
So they didn't build themselves properly, and then there was the merger, the AOL merger, and AOL didn't want wrestling under their flag, and so that didn't help.
Yeah.
But if it was super successful, they wouldn't have said anything. But they liquidated everything.
But
for
when
the
you
sake
go
of,
back-
we're going to show you your childhood idols. Get ready to cheer, and
Yeah.
that was it.
But up until that point, even up until like the NWO started the Attitude Era, which everyone
Yeah.
associates with the
absolutely.
WWF,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
they were still fucking doing Doink the Clown.
Yep.
And fucking a whole slew of other dumb shit, which is what the WWE still does to
Yeah.
this day, is they appeal to children.
Well, they went back to it. They went Attitude Era, then they went the Aggression Era, and now they're back to like trying to shoot for 8-year-olds again.
yeah, and I think that's probably how you build your fan base a little bit. You know what I mean?
I think that time has passed. I think you when the evolution that kind of started with ECW and really melded with the NWO happened, I think you moved all of wrestling past we want to appeal to 8-year-olds.
Yeah.
Like you like I said, like you
but look how big Cena was, dude.
yeah, but he was big across the board. He's in this case, just like The Rock, he's kind of a freak point because he's really good on the mic. He's a decent wrestler. Women find him good looking, and then the kids like him because he's clean. He's not.
And he
he's-
wears the superhero
and
attire.
He wears the superhero attire. He comes out to the good music. So that's an anomaly. But the rest of it is like you can't really aim it at those kids anymore because everybody is sold on this sort of realism to it.
Yeah,
The-
well, that's why the Roman shit's working right now.
Right.
Because Roman is the only thing real in that program, and
Right.
it's like, holy shit, this is good shit.
We've all conceded that wrestling is not real. Like now, it's agreed to. Nobody argues it anymore.
yeah, they literally call it entertainment and
Right.
performance.
So all we can do now is give you a good story, and the good story is not going to be a clown and his clown kids came out with clown shoes on
Yeah.
and beat up some other guy.
It's the same thing, the Karrion Cross thing with the stupid attire and
Right.
everything. Like this
It's
guy
terrible.
now, he's finally
Terrible.
winning
He's a
matches
great
at least.
wrestler,
He's
so-
incredible. He's
Great
incredible,
wrestler.
dude. A
Yeah.
lot of these dudes that they're letting go are like phenomenal on the mics. Like that
Yep.
dude, that Buddy Murphy dude. Like that guy was really good in NXT. He's basically Kenny Omega. Like
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
he's the same fucking guy.
Right.
Only he's
and Omega
more
was huge.
believable.
Omega was huge.
Omega is, and they fucking buried him on AEW too. Like they make him like just some regular ass dude. Like
weird.
This dude was like fucking 5-star, 6-star. Like Meltzer was giving him 6-star matches.
Omega is on the cover of the most recent Fire Pro Wrestling game, and just for perspective, that is a strictly Japanese wrestling game.
Right.
That is strictly features Japanese wrestlers, and the only American wrestlers are like snuck in on the 5th page. He's on the fucking cover of that. That's how big he got.
Yeah.
And then he came over, and they were just like, "Hey, you're a mid-carder." Like,
Yeah.
how the fuck did you come to
Well,
that
he's the
conclusion?
champ, but it's like they
Yeah,
bury
but
him
they
in
don't-
everything that he does. It's
Right.
like they don't elevate him. Like when you see him coming out in New Japan with Okada, or I think it was New Japan. It might have been
Yeah.
All Japan, but
No, it's New Japan.
so he comes out, and that whole match is like phenomenal. That's one of those 6-star matches
Mm-hmm.
Meltzer gave or whatever it was. But you see, like the crowd is just like it's huge, and it's like larger than life. It's the same thing when Jericho reinvigorated himself and was
Yeah.
the Painmaker or whatever,
Yeah.
the Rainmaker, whatever he was. But he had this whole thing that was just like, holy shit, Jericho's the truth.
Right.
And then he starts out in AEW, and you're like, okay, this is serious. And then it becomes like a huge joke. And then it's just like, oh, your body looks like shit. Your work in the ring looks like shit. It's like, yeah, you're good on the mic still, but like that means very little. You lost the whole lore of everything, which is the same thing that happened to Omega. Omega was
You can't waste that fire. You have to keep stoking it because the week that you let it go, it's over.
that's what you fear with CM Punk happening too.
Yeah.
It's like you're waiting for him
Well,
to be doing a fucking mimosa match with fucking Orange Cassidy, you know?
CM Punk you can play with a little bit because he hasn't gotten in the ring yet. Like you can stretch that out a little bit, but once he hits the ring, it's got to be go time. But also Jericho's a good example of what I was talking about. He was in the WCW. He was big in the WCW. He was moving through the cruiserweight division in WCW, and they just let him go because we don't really want to focus on our cruiserweights. And he went to the WWF. And from the day he set foot on that fucking stage, he was a star.
Yeah.
They knew it because the first time they brought him out against The Rock.
Yeah.
And there couldn't have been a bigger fucking compliment to
He
him.
beat The Rock and Stone Cold in one night.
There's not a bigger compliment than the first time you make an appearance to get fucking yelled at by The Rock.
Yeah.
And they just missed on they whiffed on all of that.
Yeah, it's crazy. When you think, like, because now when you go back and you watch those old WCWs, you see all the fucking talent.
Yep.
And then as the NWO creeps in, it's such a great angle with the invasion and all that stuff. It was like next level shit.
And they were pulling good talent from ECW too. They were getting the cream of the crop out of the ECW and in to that whole cruiserweight thing and just fucking flubbed it.
Yeah,
Just
because
flubbed
they
it. They let
and all those
it burn
guys.
out. Yeah. They
Yeah,
let
it's
Nash
crazy.
write for a while, and that was a problem.
Yeah, he beat Goldberg.
Yeah.
Crazy. Yeah.
Ended the streak.
Yeah, but that's the same thing I fear with the fucking EVPs over in AEW. And it's like, I'm rooting for AEW, dude. AEW didn't kill Owen Hart, so I'm rooting for the team that didn't kill Owen Hart. That's my end of the day. I get into so many arguments.
Owen Hart killed Owen Hart.
Listen, they fucking jerry-rigged his shit with a goddamn carabiner. I don't want to hear it. They killed Owen.
If they were going to kill somebody,
He didn't want to do it.
if they were going to kill somebody.
Did you watch the Dark Side of the Ring on Owen Hart?
Yeah.
All
If
right,
they were
then
gonna-
you know who killed him.
If they were going to kill somebody, they wouldn't have killed a brother of a top Carter. They would have killed the top
He wasn't there.
But he's still his brother.
Yeah, but they always hated him. Do you ever hear the fucking irrehensible shit that Lawler would be probably told to say about the Hart family? Like,
Yeah.
it was just like,
No, I understand
they
that. But,
shit
but
on
what I'm
them.
saying is if you're going to plot.
I don't like Bret Hart.
If you're going to plot to kill somebody, you kill a top guy.
Or you killed their brother.
No, for
Yeah.
what?
To get to him,
So then you're
dude.
just saying, yeah, okay. So you're not saying it's a. So I'm saying you kill somebody for the sake of the publicity and all that. You're strictly making this like a hit.
I think it's a personal thing.
Oh, okay, all right.
I think it's personal. And it's personal with me.
Okay.
And I did watch the WWE after, and I did watch CM Punk up until 2014 or whatever the fuck it was, and his
Right.
infamous pipe bombs on the way out were
Right.
why I fell back in love with
Yeah.
wrestling. And when he left, I was kind of done with it because I didn't like the rest of what was going on over there for the most part.
And then AEW started.
And then
creeping up.
AEW started, and when
Ring of Honor
AEW
was pretty
started,
good for a while.
Ring of Honor was great. I used to go all the time, the arena, anywhere that they were playing. I love Ring of Honor, and I like a lot of those. I mean, I've been to PWG shows. I've been to, I went all over the country and watched indie shows. I've been to a
Is the
CZW.
CCW?
I might. So October 4th, I have a tryout for Shakara Pro, which I recently just got rebought and out or whatever. So I don't even know what to expect over there. I'm just gonna go to try to be a manager.
You ever go to the Monster Factory?
No, the dude Laszlo. You know Laszlo?
Maybe.
He is fat with a chin strap.
That's a lot of people. At the Monster
Yeah, it is.
Factory.
It's basically 90% of Philly hip hop. But he's a producer. He did a project with Loyal and a bunch of stuff
Okay.
back in the day. And I used to see him. We used to do the owner of the Electric Factory, when it was the Electric Factory, used to have a sick WrestleMania party.
Okay.
And like a Blue Meanie was there, Pitbull 2 was there. Like people were just there. It was cool.
Blue Meanie's awesome.
Blue Meanie is the best, dude. He runs a great porn store. But he
Gotta do something.
yeah, you gotta. But he had great stories and all that shit, so I always thought it was really cool. Laszlo was always there, and we always bonded over wrestling. He always kind of got my shtick. Like, he got the character. He got that I was a prodder and I
Right.
wasn't real and I
Right.
was just playing. And he was one of the first people to ever be like, I get it, man. I get what you're doing. You know what I mean? Or like, I think one day I was wearing a Kaufman shirt, and he was like,
Okay.
that's what you're doing.
That's where you're at.
But whatever. So he's in the Monster Factory now. He started, I think, in GCW, and now he's doing Monster Factory shit. I watched one of his matches. His intro is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like, he comes in, like, he just looks the part. His name's Kodak. He's like a big, burly, hairy dude. He has like a towel on his head. He comes out with red lights. The guy behind him kind of looks like, what's that guy's name? I want to say Paul Mitchell, but that's not his name.
Paul Bearer?
No. Oh, God, who did he come out with? He had the fucking ill mustache. He looked like the devil. I forget the guy's name, but he looks like that guy. He has a manager that just looks like a
manager.
presence. And he comes out into the ring and he sits down and the fucking thing shakes and he's just sitting there looking brooding, a little bit like Sabu, a little bit like whatever.
Little
But he-
Raven.
Just yeah, but he's like real. It's a really good character, and he's getting really good work. Monster Factory is like top 5 schools in the country
Yeah.
that you can learn your craft at,
Yep.
and people pick from those schools. You know, So as much as we've maybe had our differences or whatever in the past, whatever, like I'm super proud of that. And like when I see that, I wanted to be a wrestler way before I wanted to rap. Like
Sure.
wrestling was everything to me. So now that I'm not, I can move around, I can jump, I can pull
Right.
myself up, I can
Lost some
do
weight.
stuff, I feel like I can. I mean, I'm nowhere near professional wrestling level.
But you're wrestling over at Camden County College level.
Yeah, I
wrestler,
can.
yeah.
Yeah. And I used to love the Ring of Honor shows. Are one of some of my favorite. That's why
Yeah.
I see Seth Rollins and I remember Tyler Black, and that's
Right.
why I see Daniel Bryan and I remember Bryan Danielson, or a slew of these dudes. I remember seeing Eddie Kingston, and when Eddie Kingston came in the AEW, I was like, yeah, dude. Like
my
I remember
boy.
I seen him in front of 9 people in a
Right.
fucking gymnasium 5 years ago. That's what's really cool about AEW.
Yeah.
So you got to root for the underdogs. AEW is definitely an underdog, and I think that the teacher becomes the student, and vice versa, sooner than later. Because I think that new things happening is good. The CM Punk thing changed my fucking life. I swore that I was like, I'm gonna smoke a blunt, I'm gonna drink a beer, I'm gonna do all this stuff. And CM Punk came out, and I was like, I'm never
gotta wait.
doing anything
I'm
ever.
busy.
I can't do anything ever again. CM Punk doesn't do it. I
There
can't
you go.
do it
Hey,
either.
straight edge.
All right. Well, I think we talked enough.
You sure? It's only been 2.5 hours.
Only 2.5? Okay, well, we got 5 more hours of wrestling
There you
talk.
go.
You
That's
want to go
right.
down the wars, dude? Let's start at 1995.
All right, let's do it. That's when Rick Rude came across on both sets.
Oh, that was great. I think that was later. I think it was more like 96.
Yeah, because that was after WCW switched to live and not pre-taped, because that's when they were starting their
They started
Monday
winning.
Nitro. Well, they started Monday Nitro with WWF. X wins, Y wins, B wins, A wins. You
Oh,
don't have
yeah,
to
yeah,
watch
yeah.
it now. Stay with us.
Yeah. I remember remember that's when they lost the one time too, because they said Mankind's going to win the title, and
Right.
that's the first week they
They had to go
lost
see.
because they were like, Mankind
That's
wins the fucking
crazy
title.
talk.
That's one of my all-time favorites.
The Rock and Sock connection.
Oh man, that was so good. There were so many good late
Mankind-
90s, mid 90s to late 90s wrestling.
Yeah, the like 94 to 97 is such a sweet spot.
Yeah.
Because you can cover everything from the prime ECW all the way through to like DX really
I
being.
think about 97 when Stone Cold won the Rumble.
Yeah.
Like that was
Yeah.
just like that was like the changing
Yeah,
point.
there's a whole.
Stone Cold throw. Everyone thinks Bret Hart's winning the title.
Right.
I think it was Shawn Michaels and Sid were having the title match. I think Sid won. I don't remember. Sid was great too in those
Yeah.
years too. And you think about
He just went crazy. He
Yeah.
apparently went like actually mentally batshit
well,
crazy.
yeah. Did you ever see the one
Stabbed
interview?
somebody, right? He stabbed somebody in
I-
the back room
I think that's correct.
with scissors.
yeah. Or fork. Scissors sounds right.
That's the fucking level of commitment to crazy when you take a pair of scissors.
You want
open
to talk
them
about
up
the
and
level of
stab somebody.
commitment? How about the rabid Wolverine? You know what I mean? You want to
Yeah.
talk about a commitment?
Yeah.
That's a commitment, man. I think Kevin Sullivan did that. That's my conspiracy
Yeah?
for the day. Yeah,
All
I
right.
think Kevin Sullivan killed Chris Benoit and his whole family.
That's a lot of people have that theory. That's an interesting theory.
Because you think about everything that was booked in that time frame,
Right.
and when you rewatch that shit, you see the uncomfortability of people around him. Because remember, that was Chris Benoit was in the Horsemen. Kevin
Right.
Sullivan was
he was the
in
new Four Horsemen.
Yeah.
With Dean Malenko.
And then, so anytime that anything was ever brought up with Chris and Woman,
Right.
it was like Ric Flair is like he's like trying to change the subject. Arn Anderson's like playing like I'm not a part of this.
Right.
Mongo and Deborah McMichael are like playing.
We don't want to talk about it.
Yeah, it was like a very weird thing.
But he
So-
was also known for working kind of stiff. So like he had hurt a lot of other people as well. Like I know what you're saying about Woman and all, but like he had physically injured other people because
he physically injured
worked-
himself a bunch of times.
Oh
too.
yeah, no, for sure. But he worked very stiff. He
But
was-
look at the guys today. A lot of guys worked like strong
Yeah,
style
they're
shit
not-
is very stiff. Some
they're
of these
not
guys.
as-
That's
yeah.
what I'm afraid to see Darby Allin in the ring with CM Punk a little bit, because Darby Allin
might beat him up.
He lays
Like,
it the
beat him
fuck
up, beat him
in
up.
there. Darby Allin. I never knew Darby from the Indies. Darby Allin. The first time I was really introduced to him, he fought Cody on Dynamite or whatever, and just the way he sold, I was just like, this dude is
Right.
on another level. Like, it doesn't matter if he's 5'6", $130. He is on a
Still selling
whole other level. He doesn't strike you as a Spike Dudley or anything like that. He just strikes you as like a great.
Spike was awesome.
Spike was awesome,
Because
but
you know, if Spike came out, he was getting thrown the fuck around.
yeah, into the second row.
Into the second row, off of the top of the balcony
Yeah,
of the
he
fucking
didn't care.
ballroom. He
He
didn't
didn't
care
care.
at all. He didn't care. New Jack didn't care. It was wonderful.
He had, remember the run-in he had on the TLC with Edge and Christian? I don't know. He just did so many good things. How about those fucking matches? Those TLC matches.
TLC matches
dude?
were great.
Oh man, those matches are. I bought the DVD set because I was just like, I've seen all these matches, but I'll watch them forever.
Definitely watch those again.
My favorite Royal Rumble's definitely my favorite pay-per-view, but the TLC in that era with the Edge and Christian, the Hardy Boys, and the fucking Dudley Boys.
The Hardy Boys were fantastic.
Oh my
and
god. Lita.
Yeah.
And then the Edge, and then remember when was that Edge in the bed with her in the middle of the ring?
Well, that apparently happened in real life.
And they played it. That's what you have to do.
Yeah, that's ballsy though. That's real fucking ballsy.
It's right up my
to
alley.
write your story with a bunch of fucking roided up animals and be like, this real life thing that really fucking crushed your soul. Now it's on TV for everybody.
Yeah, but isn't that great though?
It's great, but it's fucking dangerous.
It's dangerous, I guess. But nobody died. You know what I mean?
Nobody
Not
died,
then.
but just luckily.
Yeah, I guess
Because
you're
Chris
right.
Benoit's dead, and basically what you're saying is
Yeah, it sounds like
it's the
that's what
same
happened.
thing.
Yeah. To me, that's what I mean. I'm sure a lot of roids and fucking,
Right.
CTE and all that stuff. I
Yeah.
mean, that was the beginning of all that. No one
Yeah.
even cared about that until that happened.
No one
People were
understood
like,
it, yeah.
So yeah,
All right.
wrestling is great. So
Got another 2.5 hours, or call it a day.
yeah, we can
Head
call
home.
it a day.
Try to get back to Philly the same day you left.
Yeah, that's not gonna happen. I got to stop at Wawa and get a coffee. I'm gonna be watching wrestling all night.
All right. Well, let's get out of here. To whoever stayed on for the whole time, thank you very much. You're fucking out of your mind.
Yeah, you're a lunatic.
Don't forget, we got a Friday podcast. We're here audio only. You can get us pretty much anywhere you get a podcast, the Gig Podcast and the GBMC or whatever, the Green Bucket Podcast now. There's
yeah,
a
we're
podcast
gonna,
all
I
over
think
the
we're
place.
gonna change the name every week.
Probably just to keep you on your toes.
Yeah.
For the 4 of you that want to try to listen on a routine.
Hey, 400. At least 46.
But, thank you for listening. And Sean will be calling in on Friday. It's going to be a real shitty show on Friday if I'm running the show, though.
Yeah.
So hopefully you'll tune in for that, even despite my warnings.
Okay. I looked at